Hi, I'm Rob from HopZine. Thanks for joining me live on YouTube. Thanks a lot. Joining me on New Year's Day, no less. And what a better day to start talking about beers from last year. But as you can see, joined by two illustrious guests. Some old, some new, some I guess some old and new. But yeah, Jake, how you doing, mate? What are you
All
drinking?
good. I'm drinking Daya something good 11 IPA, which is I've just had the first sip and it's not. Oh, I already can tell it's not going to be my favorite one from Daya this year, but it's still Daya, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a funny one. It just felt like I even read the side of the can. I thought, well, what's different about this? I couldn't really kind of like figure it out.
Wasn't
I mean,
it using incognito for the first time?
Oh, was it that?
Yeah, I think it's just their first play with it.
Ah.
Oh,
And
really?
as he introduced himself nearly, my good friend and one of my employers, the proprietor of the wonderful Triangle beer shop and sometimes bar. Just don't tell the tax man. My good mate Gav, how you doing, Gav?
Yeah, not bad. Feeling a little bit sleepy with it being New Year's Day and all, but
yeah,
I'm doing all right.
I stayed up a bit too late last night.
Yeah.
I think I'm feeling I'm full of the adrenaline of live YouTube. So what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Paper Scissors
Oh yeah,
by Rock Leopard. It's brewed at Cloudwater. Yeah, it's really nice. It's just it's quite a light IPA. Really quite smashable for its 6.5%. I'm quite impressed with it, really.
I find Rock Leopard curious because it's I mean it's brewed at Cloudwater. I mean I think Stacey's brewing on their kit. He's probably using their ingredients. But I think people just don't get as excited about it for some reason. I was listening Matt Curtis on Pellicle podcast talking about his favourite kind of beers of the year, and he was drinking one of their double IPAs.
Oh yeah,
I don't think I got to try that, but he was loving it. But I find it funny that essentially it's Cloudwater beer, but maybe it just shows the difference.
It's going to be Stacey's recipe, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've had any of the Echo brewing beers that they've done, because they're made by some Nigerians living in London, but it's for the Nigerian market. I think the idea is that they're brewing it in the UK, but it's to ideally export to Nigeria.
But they'll be in newspapers. The most expensive can of beer in Nigerian history. I mean, if they're gonna, maybe we start importing their stuff from Nigeria because it just ends up being massively cheaper than buying Cloudwater beers.
Is it like Tusker or something that you get? What you get in Nigeria is Tusker Kenyan.
I used to love a bit of Tusker.
Oh, it's Star, isn't it? Star
For
beer.
my 30th birthday, I had a crate of Tusker and a crate of Erdinger. It's like, help yourselves. Go on, help yourselves.
You have some of those big long Erdinger glasses as well.
I did have one. I don't know. I don't think I've still got one. I don't know where it went. Yeah, of course. Yeah, love apple on Erdinger. Served by Kelly, who's one of the draymen at Northmont and lives about 50 yards from where I'm sat right now. Full circle, I tell you. But yes, so as I'm sure all of our adoring viewers have just watched my live stream of my top 10 British brewed IPAs for 2020. It's probably a good place to start. I mean, I'm not expecting a full list because my list took numerous kind of sessions and sat on the bog. Sat there a bit too long. And we start losing feeling in your feet.
Yeah.
So to narrow it down, because one thing I set myself the rule of I could only pick one beer per brewery, which would make it slightly more interesting, I'd like to think, instead of just going, oh yeah, it's loads of track and pressure drop, which I could have easily done. But yeah, so I didn't whittle it down to 10. So, Jake, what have your kind of notable IPAs been?
I managed to get a list of 6, and that was more like off the top of my head, without going through Untapped or anything.
That's it. I don't use Untapped, and
Yeah.
I review such a small percentage of the beer that I actually drink.
Yeah, same here. I think actually there's only one beer that two, and one's not even out yet. 2 beers that I reviewed on here.
I'm gonna say it's not even out yet. You would get a sneak preview. You're that kind of like on the edge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, my favourite beers are beers you've not even tasted yet.
I'm sure. Well, I'll start with that one. It was Daya Saturated in Nelson, which I had the other day, which has been out for a couple of weeks now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it was just crazily good. That it's like a big double IPA, and it's just Nelson in there, and it could work so well. And it is so nuanced. It wasn't like you were just drinking like grape juice. There was a lot going on with it. So that made it to the list, but it could be because it's like fresh in my mind because I had it like 4 days ago. And then I had on there Overtone, the Churcuz, their double IPA. I was a big fan of that one when we tried that on the live stream.
Yep.
Can't remember what I had now. A couple of weeks ago, Colonel, their 3C IPA. Which isn't the 3 C's that I thought it was until I read the back of the label. Can't remember what it was now. It was like Chinook, Columbus, and Citra. Yeah.
It's one that they did years ago. I've noticed they've done a scans as well. That's like a 10% IPA that they haven't done for about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
My pump clip for the beer that my homebrewed beer that I had on at Saltaire Brewery, which I live pretty much next door to nowadays, for the homebrewers kind of day. As I was a judge, drank a lot of shit IPA that day. So I had a beer on the bar, and it was a West Coast APA, and that was Chinook, Centennial, and Citra. So yeah, it's not broken. C-bomb, boom. Fella from Ridgeside wanted to brew that beer. Then he died, unfortunately. End of my brewing career.
Yeah. Unrelated.
Poor Simon.
Where did I get to? Colonel 3C. I put Elusive Oregon Trail on there. I know you weren't as enamored with it, but I really like that one. They've rebrewed it apparently.
I want to try the second batch. Apparently, you're up to the bitterness.
Really? Yeah, because that was probably the one thing that was lacking. But for me, it was sort of like crisp, grapefruity, slight caramel notes. But yeah, it probably was lacking a bit of bitterness, which hopefully they've rectified on that new batch. But yeah, I really want that wee heavy that they brewed as well, with the cute little sort of pixelated bee on there from Elusive. But so I might do an online order if they've got Oregon Trail on again. And then I had Buxton Chip Shop Brawl, which was their like triple IPA.
What was it called?
Chip Shop Brawl.
Chip shop, as in like fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
Chip shop rule.
Brawl, as in a fight.
Rule.
Brawl.
Brawl.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's my southern accent let me down.
It's all right.
And then
statement.
Yeah, and then my one of the year, which probably one of my beers of the year, which I had right back in February, which was Burnt Mills Gardens of Green. It was the one that was the final one in that series. But they've since relaunched that series again. But it was one where they used about 7 different hops in it. I think it was like every hop that they'd used in all the other previous iterations.
Right.
And that was just one of those moments where the stars align and everything sort of right time to drink it, sort of just hit all the right notes. And yeah, that it sticks in my head now. And like even on the when I did a video of it, I sort of went to the back and leant on the wall and was like. So it really stuck with me, that one, even though it was right early on in the year. So that was my 6 that I could come up with on the spot.
See, that's a really interesting point. I mean, that it's the ones that stick with you.
Yeah.
So there's been a bunch of breweries for me. I mean, and I'll say Daya is probably one of them. I mean, the main culprits in that sense would be initially Pomona Island, which were it were just churning it out, especially in middle of summer. I mean, they were like the brewery of the summer for me. There were like 3 different IPAs every week, and as good as they were, it just all became a bit like you kind of lost track of what was what. Nothing really jumped out. And there was some good stuff, and there was some kind of pretty average stuff, but never bad. Well, seldom bad unless you have the dark beers, and then it's like no. Polly's once again, I think, but I'd say Polly's rate higher than Pomona. But once again, great, but just like, well, which one did I like more than another one? I really struggled with that. But you go with Daya because of it. I guess the 2 main things I think of Daya this year is the saturated range and the something good range. I think the saturated, I think some probably will stand out more for other people, some more than others to different people. And then something good, I think we just have all been nice, but just not kind of like not much stretching in the trouser department. So good, but just not like nice. I think I've had them all. And that's not a dig at Adam before he comes on, because he always hankers at number 4. He didn't add something because they've rebrewed a few.
Yeah, they've done like the best of, haven't they? Like 3-7.
Oh, is that what it was? Best of?
I think it was what they thought they got the best results from. Yeah. Did you have that rice lager? Was it
rice lager? I've not had any lagers from Daya this year.
Right.
That'll be a good thing. I mean, because the 2 live lists I'm going to do are IPAs and stouts. I'm going to do stouts on Sunday. But I did kind of start piecing together like a international IPA list and a something else list, and so we can always talk about all that kind of shit later on. But Gav, as an owner of a beer shop, you've had a significant amount of IPA this year, so I'm sure it's been hard to kind of keep track of what you've enjoyed the most. But what notable IPAs have stood out to you?
Well, like in terms of Daya, I had a can of Meet Me in the City. That really stood out. It was just really on point. I think it's is it Citron Galaxy? They just had that fruity kind of slightly bubblegummy thing going on, which I know a lot of people don't like, but it was a memorable can for me. That for that reason, and I think I just got it at the right time. It was just perfect kind of fresh.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed the Galaxy.
Arpus, the DD8. Yeah, that was fantastic actually, and for a European brewery to be knocking out that kind of quality, I think. They definitely want to watch next year.
I really like that. Who'd have thunk it? Latvia kicking out the high quality Galaxy double IPAs. You had the other 2 which came in recently, the triple and the
and the secret
hops.
Yeah, I've had the triple, which was really nice. I think I had that when it was a little bit late in the night, so I think the secret hops was all right, but it had a little bit of dryness, I think, on it that I wasn't that into. I suspect this, one of the hops that they were using is probably not something I'm familiar with. So I mean, it was nice enough, but it didn't have. I thought the DDH Galaxy was just really well made. The mouthfeel was really smooth. There wasn't any hot burn. You just got like the juicy fruit flavors coming through. That's definitely the one that stood out of the 3 that we've had in so far.
Yeah. It's funny. It's a funny old situation, isn't it? Because when I was putting together my list, I kept feeling a bit guilty that everything I was thinking of was in the last 2 or 3 months. When you think kind of like if you kind of start feeling, because I don't really check much in on Untappd, so I ain't got that kind of resource. And I mean, I review a certain percentage of what I drink, but not a hell of a lot. But it's like trying to look back in those early months and kind of having those little kind of like momentous moments that kind of like stayed with you. One, what I was on my list, which I completely forgot about until earlier today, was at Clydewater Friends and Family, and that was Brew by Numbers double mosaic. I mean, that was February, and I'm like, yeah, goodness me! If it hadn't been like like an important event, maybe I would have completely forgotten about that because it was such a long time ago. But I remember that being an absolute cork. But I mean, I said on my video earlier, they're not that available in shops. I don't see a hell. They're doing stuff direct, but I've not seen a hell of a lot of.
No, I think there's a couple of breweries this year that have track are the same, where they're pricing themselves out of the market to go in shop because punters buy them cheaper or like nearly at cost.
Track out that much cheaper direct. I love track. They're expensive from my track glass.
Right. But yeah, I think Brew by Numbers. I love their beer. You know, I'd like to stock it all the time, but some of the offers they've had like 24 beers for £40. You know, offers like in December and stuff, and you know, you're talking, you know, several dippers, and you know, it's not all just like cheap stuff. Yeah. So there's not much point in me buying that when you're competing with online.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if they're still doing it. They would do like if you like spent like over £25, you got free postage.
Yeah, I got a Brew by Numbers box right at the start of the first lockdown because I wanted like a mixed pack of beers. I didn't want just IPA. Yeah. And theirs had an imperial stout, it had like a brown ale, it had a sour, it had like a pale ale, a double IPA, and an IPA. And yeah, that was like ridiculously good value. Yeah, it was the few doing sort of like, especially because like where they are in London, you'd sort of think that they're gonna sort of charge the earth for delivery, but it was like £25 free delivery, and I think the box itself was like £30. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting that and then I also added on, they were selling at that point when we first went to lockdown, they're selling bombers of like keg beer, and it was kegged like 2 days before 2 days before they sent it, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I was having a bit of a look around on online shops, and I looked on there. I haven't looked on their online shop for ages. I looked earlier today, and they had 2 double IPAs that were brewed on the 29th.
Oh, really?
And on the 29th. Yeah, well, that's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
Pretty good going. I guess, yeah, I mean, as I said, for me, Pomona Island and Poly just kind of like, as good as they are, I mean, I'm probably more of a Poly's fan than Pomona, to be honest. But one that I guess it's a relatively new find, which I've been impressed with recently, was been Overtone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, me and Gav shared some recently. We had the Churkles. We had that. We had the Last Buster Yoka, the triple, and one what really was tempting to kind of put on my list was the Mosaic Oak Cream IPA, straight up IPA. It was lovely. I mean, I think they're one of the breweries. They've been a real find for me this year of Overtone. Obviously, you're the CEO. Yeah. Jake's surname is Overton.
Yeah.
Added on an E, simple as that.
When I first kind of like did a thing about it, they kind of replied to me on Instagram saying, "Oh, blah blah blah." I mean, the owner's actually somebody else. Somebody else. I'm like, but yeah, Jake just does some kind of like contract brewing here. I'm like, what? The guy who does some like contract brewing at Overtone, who's called Jake.
Oh, so I got a bit confusing.
No, it's just me, mate. He's got his name's virtually the same as the brewery.
Because I think all of the people that work there tend to have in their social media, it's like Dan Overtone in there. So I think that's probably what they're probably thinking like, no, it's not him, Rob. You're barking up the wrong tree.
But there's 2 beers on their online shop at the moment. by a different brewery, and I'm wondering if it's him.
Mm.
There's a barley wine and an imperial stout. Oh, I can't remember what the brewery's called. I'll check in a bit. So I was gonna mention it. We're like, are they the beers brewed by Jake at Overtone? You should just get him just to be massively confusing.
Yeah.
To baffle their social media accounts. Who's this? Somebody called Jake. It's not the same guy. But yeah, I've just opened, which was was on my list. It just scoops its way in, which is North's new Persistence Illusion 8.3. What is this? What hops are in this? Strata, Citra, Simcoe, which is lovely. I was really stuck between this and Into the Mersbow. Don't know if Gavin probably had it. I don't know if it made it down your way.
That's the Talus one, isn't it?
Yeah, I love
that.
Talus, Sabro, all over that.
Yeah. That Mucho Talus from Basqueland was lovely. Was that one?
Didn't have that.
Ah, right.
I don't think I've had any. Hardly had any pale from Basqueland this year. That's good stouts. The Piala collab was very good.
Oh yeah, the cognac.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, it's what Piala do. Cognac barrel aged Imperial Baltic, wasn't it? Yeah.
It kind of made the Basqueland stout a little bit more grown up. I felt it might squeeze its way onto the list. Depends how my morning pollution's going tomorrow morning.
There's been some great stuff the last couple of months. I've had some amazing dark beer.
Absolutely. Well, you two can talk about stouts, but I don't want to give anyone anything away.
All right.
You're keeping it under wraps.
Tune in on Sunday afternoon. So yeah, on that point, what's stout wise? I know. I mean, the Triangle. You obviously kind of pride yourself on having a really good range of stouts. So
Yeah.
a fair few. So what's been memorable as far as stouts go?
Well, I had that Persistence in Utah for the first time last night.
On Christmas, on Boxing Day. Oh.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it was a bad idea. I don't know how much coffee's in that bastard, but I was restless all night in my sleep. Like,
chocolate.
Well,
really good cocoa powder.
There's been a few recently. They gouged away by Stig Baguettes, which is like hazelnut and coffee. Where you get this sweet, rich thing at the front, and then the coffee comes in at the back, and it like the way the flavors melt together. It's it's kind of magical, and obviously the high viscosity, the mouthfeel, and the persistence was definitely quite cool. And, tasty as, and like the chocolate as well. It's like you could tell it was really high quality chocolate, and you got the perfume that it was like almost, it was more aromatic in liquid form than it would be in like a solid chocolate form. I thought it really it really displayed the complexity of the chocolate like beautifully. Yeah. So that was one to remember.
Sorry, go on.
I think Siren are knocking it out of the park with their the Haunted House Carnival and Haunted House Waltzer and
Helter Skelter.
Had
House last night. Had Waltzer on Boxing Day.
Nice. Yeah.
If you're not Adam, Jake, Jesus Christ, there's some of the stats from. I mean, Fireside, that's still in the fridge. The Odyssey, still in the fridge. I can't really speak of anything beyond that. Don't want to give anything away. But yeah,
just getting Goose back in this year has been fantastic. I mean, Black Albert and Cuvée Delphine, some of my favourites. And it was really lovely and really good value as well for what they are.
Piala, Sorry stuff which has been knocking around recently.
Yeah, I've not actually had any of the new stuff we've got in.
All right.
But Andrew's had a few from the shop that works in the shop with us. He's really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was like frosted something cake. It was Tonka. That was really good, really good.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Jake? Stout wise, what's been?
The Dark Banter from Overtone. I had that the other day, and that was just no adjuncts, like that. That's like I'm a big fan of silly adjunct heavy stouts when they're pulled off right. But when someone knocks out of the park with nothing else in it, and it's still rich and decadent, and you get all those crazy flavors, that's for me when like brewing's at its peak. When someone can do that with an imperial stout, and that one knocked out of the park for me. So that would be up there. I've got a can over there. The weight of brunch from Burnt Mill and McKellar. That was seriously good. I haven't had the second batch. I had two cans of the first batch, but that was ridiculously good. That was like thick.
Did they review that for the because it was in the Mikkeller beer celebration box?
Yeah, they brought it out again recently. Yeah,
that was excellent.
Yeah, that was really good. I need to cast my mind back now. Trust there's any cans knocking about.
But yeah, big kind of like. So what did we have last night? I mean, we kind of like it was no one last night. It was on Boxing Day. This is not a spoiler because it didn't quite make the list, but review coming soon on your HopZine, so stay tuned. The Piala collab with Track, Lost at Sea, which is French toast. Imperial toast.
Oh.
It sounded kind of like could have been a bit silly, but it wasn't all. I mean, it kind of took me by surprise that it wasn't kind of overtly sweet. It was quite a grown-up beer actually. It didn't make me. It definitely had the kind of like the fingerprints of Piala all over it. It wasn't. I mean, I think Track make great imperial stout, but it wasn't. It wasn't a silly adjunct beer at all. It was kind of like if you give me this blind, I'd have thought this could be kind of like a variant of Bourbon County Stout or something. It was just like,
right. Wow.
Good stuff. Good, really good.
That's what I want. That's what I want adjuncts to do. I want it to like enhance the beer, but not like be so dominant or so one-dimensional. Whereas sometimes some of those stouts all you can taste is the is whatever flavor in there they've put into it, sort of thing.
Oh, Haunted House from Siren, which is chocolate, and on the label it says chocolate and coconut. But the big thing I found about it was that what I took away from it was that it was aged for 24 months in. Well, it said barrels. It said bourbon and rye. So I don't know if it was rye whiskey and bourbon, and then it was a blend. I don't know, but that played a massive part of it. It wasn't a boozy kind of. It wasn't a boozy kind of. It won't get you giving that cherry that you get from like wet bourbon barrels. It was just the oakiness really kind of like set off the coconut and stuff. So it won't go in like it won't kind of like synthetic coconut. It was just kind of like the coconut just like kind of balancing up that kind of that barrel character, just bringing out the oak and things like that. But yeah, so it didn't feel like an adjunct beer at all. It was like this is a barrel aged beer with something that just kind of adds to the mix. But it was like beautiful seasoning, I guess, in a lovely meal. It's like but yeah.
Because another, I just had to. I just flicked back through my reviews, and I can't believe I forgot about that stupid Vault City Imperial Coconut Stout. They're like the absolute gloopy ketchup bottle monstrosity. Which it was just that's when you take it so far with the adjuncts and the silliness that it goes over a peak. that one was just absolute madness. That's if you're going to do adjuncts, like. Do that.
Was it really tasty?
The thing is, it was still like a really good beer. Like you could tell they've got to brew like a good beer under that to actually pull it off, because it was still like mega drinkable, even though they had it was like it's the thickest beer I've ever had. It was like it was like Cavonia.
Right.
It was like that sort of like gloopiness and but yeah, actually, I thought, oh, this is like pure gimmick. It's like Instagram, social media stuff. But then the actual beer was really good as well. It probably wasn't the best beer, but just for pure silliness, it was good. I mean, I turned the bottle upside down and nothing came out. I had to like shake it to like get it to come out.
Bottle of Heinz ketchup.
Yeah.
You gotta encourage it. Encourage it out. Just gonna quickly go to the comments. Just got some comments coming. So Lee W says hi all. Hi Lee. Peter saying evening folks. Peter will be joining us, so I'm told by him. And I will give him all these kind of hard questions as well, and ask him what his track best bitter was like when he finally turned up after about 3 weeks. Rory Lee, how drunk is Rory tonight? How drunk was Rory last night? That is always the interesting situation. Then Lee says, Wild Child, drenched in dankness, double IPA, his favourite last year. I weirdly, only pale stuff I see from Wild Child is in Morrison's in Guiseley. I've had a couple of stouts, but I do not see that kind of pale anything of any note from pale. But I mean, absolutely, I will take yours on that. So Thomas from Window Beer Review says, "Hi everyone, so how are you doing?" Then Lee says, "Vocation Barrel Age series were fantastic. I've had, and that's a good point. I've had some good stuff, some good Imperial stouts over the last month or so from Vocation. The I think it was Double Mocha collab with Pomona Island at the start of the month, and that was amazing. Had double frappe yesterday, which was good, maybe a little bit too sweet. And then what else is it? Oh, had the double black IPA, like 11% double black IPA kind of madness, which was decent. But the Pomona Island collab was really, really good. I mean, their high ABV stuff has been good. There's an IPA knocking around at the moment called First Eclipse, which I think is using a new hop. It sounded really good, and it's got like stonking reviews. At not many places I've seen it. I think one shop over this way had it, and they sold out at Rainville, which for Gav's information, they had it, and I think that was it. Right. But it's like 4 point. It's got like a 4.3 or something silly like that. But see, that's the thing. I think Vocation are an interesting brewery. I mean, very much focused on supermarkets, but I presume Matt Howgate is still the head brewer there. He's a very good brewer and has made in the past some really good Imperial stouts as well. So. But yeah, so there's two other aspects. I mean, and go wherever you please. I mean, I'm just here to usher the cats in various directions. Two of the things that I was considering were overseas IPAs, which were essentially Whiplash, and then an Arpus and American beers. So I've not had a hell of a lot of, not off the top of my head. I'd have to think about. Gav might be able to jog in memory on other European IPAs. Well, you've had that in recently. I mean, when Peter comes on, I'm sure Peter's a big kind of German craft beer fan. I'm sure he might have had some because you've had
that meat and jelly actually in the fridge.
Yeah, you've had a bunch in, haven't you, recently? What was it? Super something, super situation or something like that, or superstition.
I don't know. The most popular one's called Escape from Madness, and I think that's just because of the state of the last year. That's why
you tried it?
Yeah, it's solid. It's good. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I kind of struggle with, I guess, with European beers is, you normally paying an extra £1, and a lot of the time for like New England hazy IPAs, the Brits are doing it better than anyone. So it's nice as a point of interest,
I
but
think so.
the other thing is it's like with the Dutch IPAs, they always have a bit more of a malt bill to them, which for English customers it makes them taste like they're older, and it's not that they're older, it's that they've been brewed to like a Dutch palate, which has a bit more of that malt for some reason.
Thomas, if you're watching, Thomas, I've got a mate in Netherlands who's often on live streams, and
Right.
he's yeah. Yeah, you and your fucking multi IPAs over there.
You damn multi.
Too much crystal malt. On one of our just on our little kind of Facebook chats, I said I think we're outside of the US. I think the UK is making the best IPA in the world, and I think some of them are as good as. I mean, this from North is as good as. I think you could put this up next to a kind of Treehouse or Trillium, and people would be surprised.
Yeah,
It was a British. But the brewery that Thomas did actually kind of mention to me when I was on me on one about how fucking ace we are was Arpus.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, actually, you're right. That was right. But yeah, it's a funny. I mean, yeah, that's really interesting. I never thought about that. It's because you think of those kind of progressive breweries out of Europe, Basqueland, Garage. Prominent ones. He's actually on as well. He's just commented. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, Dutch IPA. There's a way to go. Oh well, there you go. Yes. What was I going to say? Yeah. So Basqueland, Garage. I guess they're quite prominent ones over here. We're talking about breweries that you can get kind of quite readily in the UK. Frau Gruber have kind of like made a bit of an inroad. Arpus is relatively new. Obviously you've always stocked a lot of Demerlen, but often more the barrel aged stuff.
Yeah, we tend to try and stock things that people, we work towards brewery strengths, and I think like Dagendor and like the Amarillo, they do a few decent IPAs that stand on the road.
750 cork and cage from the Grove years ago. First ever Demerlen beers.
Yeah, no, they were good. Good days. But yeah.
I don't know what else. Anybody else? Anything else come to mind when you think of kind of European kind of IPAs apart from what I just mentioned?
Was it like Steve Baguette's? I had Amazing Haze this year. It was an older can, and it wasn't great. It really didn't. It really fell off a cliff, I think. But I haven't had any really European beer this year. It could what
happened to Denmark?
Yeah,
Denmark used to place.
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah,
Denmark. I know. A couple of like Peter and Adam have been getting the some boxes from Tull. Yeah, I'd be all over Tull and Mikkeller and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm just not as. Maybe not as available. Maybe not as. Are we just too spoiled over here? I don't know. I mean, I always think if it was really shit hot. I mean, I used to be a big fan of, and I still am to a certain degree, of Amma, and and I bought them. Rad Beer got some in, and I got some, and I was like, yeah, it's decent. Most of it was kind of New England style, and it's not what I wanted. I wanted like all the West Coasters that I used to love.
Yeah.
Even the West Coast, like Todd the Axeman, wasn't kind of the beer that I remembered it, and I think, I don't know. Is the Danish beer scene not what it used to be? Because I do notice on Mikkel's online shop a lot of British beer on that shop at the moment.
Yeah,
a lot like Burnt Meal, which I can get anytime.
Burnt Meal, North, Verdant, Polly's.
Yeah.
They get a load of British beer.
I
don't know if you get-
really want to go to their brew pub in London. When I saw like the craft beer channel's videos like this year, it's like, oh, I just want to like that's what I'm missing now. I'm missing going to places like that.
Yeah.
And I'm missing because most of the time when I try new European or American stuff, it'd be at festivals. That's the thing I've missed most about last year. That's when I'd get all my sort of beer like because that's what I've sort of paid to drink beer at home, because normally I'd save up to go to a festival and just drink sort of mediocre beer at home.
Thomas saying, enjoy the stream, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in at the right moment, Thomas.
his Dutch radar went off. Dutch beer. Let me get in here.
Speak like 6 languages, whatever. You know.
Yeah.
He's got a large selection of swords. There's all sorts going on. Knackered from New Year's. Me too. I bet I'm more knackered than you. Yeah. I'm sure we'll see you in the future. Excuse me. Turn that off. Yeah. I guess that's one thing from listening a couple of podcasts recently, which is a point that I want to kind of like bring up is there's been a bit of nostalgia for cask ale on a lot of podcasts, and I don't know if I miss cask ale all that much.
No, I don't.
It's like not being snobbish. No, I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't know if people have just romanticized it that much. I mean, I love well done beer in whatever kind of like form it comes, and I'm not some, but I mean, yeah, I'd love to go to Pembury Tavern and have some 5 Points Best, because it's a beautiful beer and they do lovely pizza. I'd love to do that, and but I'm not kind of like going, I want to go out there and have some mediocre fucking badly kept, locally made acetaldehyde and diacetyl kind of.
I didn't do it before the pandemic, and I probably won't do it after.
Yeah, same here. I enjoy a good pint of cask beer, but it's never, that's not what got me into beer. It doesn't motivate me, to be honest. It's it is what it is, and I think it's nice. It's got its time and its place, but I guess I'm the kind of guy that has a pint of cask beer with a pub lunch, every couple of weeks or something like that. And if someone's got an interesting offering, I'll always try the cask version of it, but it tends to be like a craft version of, like a cask version of a craft beer rather than, your Landlords or Ramtams or whatever else.
Landlord Dark these days, not even Ramtam.
Oh,
Landlord Dark, whatever it's called. Abomination.
Is everything just a different variant of Landlord now?
Landlord Light, Landlord Extra.
Landlord
Alcohol
vinegar.
free. They got to do an alcohol free Landlord, surely. That's coming.
3 days past its best.
Yeah.
I wonder if we get like an alcohol free cask beer. That'd be interesting. Has it ever been done?
Yeah. Would the beer just get confused and start fermenting again?
Maybe that's the future.
Yeah.
No, but I remember being in Sparrow in Bradford, and guys coming in asking like, what's pale and low ABV? They just want a kind of pale and like 3 point whatever, and
yeah.
Beyond that, really, just like putting it down the neck, really.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to be drinking exclusively 8% upwards double IPA. I'm that kind of guy. Just keeping up appearances with YouTube.
It's like when you hear sort of like stories that it's like, yeah, I used to drink 10 pints, no problem. It's like, yeah, because it was 3% cask beer.
Hey,
you're right, Craig.
Hey, how we doing?
Right.
Very good, very good, very good.
Obviously, Gav didn't get the memo about wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
I do actually have a dressing gown with a hood. I could change it to that.
Like a Sith Lord or something.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing, actually. It's quite psychedelic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're lucky, I'll go and grab it.
Okay. Smash that like button. If we get 100 likes, by the end of the hour, Gav gets his psychedelic hoodie on. I'm just going to put a couple of comments.
And grab a beer quickly.
Suitable at the moment. So we got Greg, Bullman's Beer Reviews, says, at least when this shit dies down, Cass will be fresh on. Yeah.
Fresh
Unless
on.
stuff-
How long's it been hanging around for?
There you go. There you go. And we've got, and then he says, didn't Brewdog do Cast Nanny State? Hopefully not. Nanny State's a fucking abomination. Awful. They did live the rebrew of my beer demo. They did a rebrew of that and put it on the live beer tap, and it was just flat as a witch's tit. It was so disappointing. Because that kind of beer would have really come alive on cask because it was
like a hoppy bread.
No, it's a oatmeal stout with chocolate and coffee.
Ah, right, yeah.
But I can't remember how strong it was now. About 6 point whatever. 6.4. So it'd have been lovely with a nice creamy head and stuff. When they did it, it was fucking freezing, and it was flat as a fart. It was massive disappointment. I'm not sure if I think I recorded a video, but I don't know if I posted it. So I couldn't contain my disappointment. Nice that they rebrewed it, and it was actually it was rebrewed because of people on the Equitative Punks forum kind of requested it on like a
Nice.
You pick of how many, you pick one of these 3 or 4 beers, and that was the one that went out. So anyways, just got a few more. Lee W says, haven't been out all I share. When I do, it's double or triple IPA. So Imperial Stouts. I say thinking absolutely the new session, absolutely. Then Lee Renshaw says, I've got a 12-pack of Brewdog, but I Castle Eye test in New England. I've never heard of that. For
I think it's supposed to be alright.
I use it as drain cleaner. Not tried it, but not a fan of Brewdog. But yeah, well, give it a go, see what it's like, and if not, then make shandies out of it. Get some Aldi lemonade for like 18 pence a bottle. And that'll do.
Yeah.
So Craig, are you having a drink, Craig, or because I know you've not been?
I've got a couple
You've been under the weather.
Oh, it is a couple. This has been in the fridge for months, so I just want to throw that out. Actually, for what it is, it's all right.
Oh yeah.
It's quite a darker amber sort of thing, which I weren't expecting.
Did you see there is a low ABV version of Crunch?
Yeah, I saw that 0.5.
Yeah, that's gonna be curious.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So anything that is anything in particular? So we've talked about so far. We talked about IPA. We talked about stout. So if there's anything that's stood out to you in the last 12 months, anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I've just got more into my lagers styles.
Yeah.
So just because I wanted to break from
you went sort of like German heavy, didn't you? Around the Oktoberfest time.
Yeah.
You got like every beer.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get the Augustina one. That's the only one I didn't get, but I really enjoyed them. I've appreciated them more than say 4 or 5 years ago. I'm just like lager.
Yeah,
actually,
I've been the same.
In between. Yeah.
I loved the Don Zerko Fest beer. I had a bunch of that. it just seemed after we did the excuse me, the Oktoberfest episode, that Don Zoco just made me think this is what those would have tasted like, because all the fest beers from the notable kind of German breweries, super pale and super light, but the Don Zoco one was quite nice and malty. It's lovely beer. Really,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bunch of it. That's
Yeah,
a great. I
cool.
mean, the select pills,
Mars,
fantastic.
Mars and X. So
Very much so, yeah. Yeah, and I drank them. I always drank it out of my fucking my Stein.
It's probably a bit heavier than a Martin, isn't it? It's like, it's got a bit more flavour to it.
Well, well,
More
Fest,
round, yeah.
that's the whole thing with Fest beer. I mean, the Fest beer originally was a Martin, but then they turned it into a paler beer because of its popularity.
All right.
You know, when they just like slinging pint after pint at Oktoberfest, it always
Well, they should technically be lighter.
a Fest beer has become that, and the only one that we had on the night was the Ienga, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which was on the kind of maltier side.
Maltier side, yeah.
And I don't know if they have a pavilion. I don't think they're not in the they're not allowed.
Yeah, Ienga aren't one of the 6 actual breweries, are they? They sort of do their own thing.
They can do. I love Ienga.
Yeah. I remember that being a good one on the night. That night is a bit hazy for me. That was a good
Are
stream.
you allowed to smoke in this?
Yeah. Go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Passively.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
We are drinking alcohol, I'm sure we're all right. Yeah. Yeah, that was a cracker. Now I've got I've still got a bottle of the Shonorama Dunkel to have as well, which I'm sure is a winner. But I can't remember what else I was going to say. Excuse me.
I think like trends this year. This has reminded me of it. I think we've seen a lot of best bitter or bitters or those more traditional styles from brew, but also triple IPAs. It has been the fucking year of triple IPAs.
I resisted as long as I could. I resisted the
And then you're like,
IPAs.
Yeah, you say that. I think this year Cummins going to be worse for triple IPA.
Even more. But
Yeah.
you're the reason why I've succumbed to it, and I understand why it's happening. If you wanna, you were saying it's because of the
Yeah, like a lot of breweries.
allocation and stuff like that, so they can
like it's like
got a load of hops.
So a lot of breweries
Only
had
had one.
the hop usage for last year.
yeah.
So like these breweries that like have 150 million deficit. No, is that right? 150 grand deficit in hops. So they've got to use them this year, or else they've just paid for nothing. So yeah,
Using load of hops and then getting loads of cash back. Make a fucking £10 can of triple IPA. And I bought them. I think Cloudwater have done. I mean, Cloudwater have been probably some of the more expensive ones, but they've been really good.
Yeah.
I've only had 2 this year. I think actual triple
I've had
IPAs.
I think one I've had. That was Pentridge. Birthdays in Isolation.
What was that
That was
like?
it was back in April, but
What was the Christmas in Isolation? Was it a variation of that, Craig, or was that?
I assume there's. I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did see that on the old.
Yeah.
Photos between the tits and all that.
just a window into Craig's Instagram feed.
Yeah.
Beer and tits.
If it's not between them, I'm not drinking it.
That's it.
Now, I've had some crackers from here. We had the left-handed night one last night, which was good. Enjoyed that. I had that about like 1:30 in the morning. What have we got
That's
left?
a good choice.
What have we got left? Oh, I like that triple IPA. Maybe it was earlier than that, actually. It was consumed last night, but it was. Yeah, I enjoyed that. But yeah, I think the realist, which I mentioned in my stream earlier, I thought that was amazing. I think the one that they did, the thanks for your support, I thought that was really good. From Cloudwater, Sabro, and
Sabro,
yeah, that was excellent. But
Yeah,
yeah, there has been those kind of like, but for me, I've gone for the ones I trust. Yeah, as I said, as much as I enjoy Polly's, I'm not sure if I think Polly's are going to do a really good triple IPA. I think it's a bit of an ask. I think the ones who are doing it really good, doing really good hoppy beer, I'll trust them to do a really good one. I mean, oddly, have Daya done a triple IPA?
Can't remember it coming out. I thought there would have been more fanfare.
Oh, the thing is, the North collab, that was a triple, wasn't it? But that was brewed at North.
Yeah. I missed out on the actual beer, but that release of that beer was like how I remember sort of like old. I say old school, yeah, but like 2 or 3 years ago when a new beer like that was released, they really
Unhuman came out or Killer Belly.
They really built up a fanfare around that. I don't know what happened with that, if they really just pushed it or if it just got picked up on social. But it was like a couple of weeks before it was even coming out, people were like talking about it, and they really built up a fanfare to that. And it's like, well, if you just wait until next week when you can get another one.
Yeah, I mean, I went for the launch night and it was quite quiet. I mean, it was during that kind of weird little limbo period that we had for about a month between tier 3, between lockdown and tier 3, and then lockdown and tier 3. So those salad days, those halcyon days of going to a pub, for a couple of hours. But yeah, so. And yeah, well, it didn't kind of like it didn't turn the world upside down. I think North have done significantly better beers. What I'm drinking now is a much better beer, and that's why I was really skeptical. I was like, I always felt, is it necessary? Do we need a fucking 10-11% IPA? I'm happy with 8.5 tops. But as I said, I think there's been some really good ones, and that track one, that track quad was good. I've got the Northern Monk one, which other friends have been saying is really good as well. So,
I had one guy buy like 10 cans.
Did he come and collect them? This guy bought 10 cans of Northern Monk quad IPA. And then we just sat there. I mean, a day after he bought them, or something, we just sat in the fridge in a carrier bag, waiting for him to pick them up. So he picked them up.
Yeah, he got those and like 2 cans of the Verdant left-handed giant curl.
Fuck hell. Somebody likes triple IPA.
Yeah.
That would have been night, I bet, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely ratted.
Fucking storming. I'm feeling worried about having...
My granddad likes hoppy IPAs, and I think he'll really enjoy it. Like for the new year.
Okay, are you trying to do him in? You want Will or something? He's got a good deal on the Will. Right, here you go, Grandad. You like it? You like an ale? Nice ale, don't you? As strong as this ale, don't you worry about. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
3.8.
Yeah.
12.5. 12.5 of that Northern Monk one, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah. And I mean, is it like fats are really good, way to get flavour into food.
Yeah.
And alcohol's a good way of getting flavour into beer. What is that? What's the analog?
Well, that's it. I mean, I guess you have to get more complexity at higher ABV.
Yeah.
But those beers that you think of at higher ABV would be Imperial Stout, Barley Wine,
Quadruples.
So they're kind of in their very nature, they're a lot more kind of complex. The thing with IPAs that higher ABV. For me, you don't want to taste.
How does it work?
You don't want to taste blues. I think it's just as you said. I think it's sheer amount of fucking hops, like loads. Maybe you can just cope with more hops, so you just pile it on, pile it on, pile it on. So you get just like this intense amount of kind of like. Well, I guess if you dry hopping,
just by definition, there's more molecules. So I don't know. I'm pretending to talk about science. I don't know.
Well, and I suppose when you're going to that ABV, you do have.
You lot to talk about science while I go for a piss.
This won't end well. But I suppose with that, when you get into that 12% sort of mark in a pale beer, are you if you didn't hop it to hell or like go crazy with malts and that sort of thing, is it just going to taste really over the top alcoholic?
Yeah.
Are you going to really just pick up just a real alcohol burn, and that's all you're going to pick up? So you need to chuck in a load of stuff to sort of counteract that ABV, mask it a little bit.
Well, that's probably I don't know how much oats they use in these triples. I'd imagine it's more than the standard New England types, I would imagine. I don't know. Just to take you away from that thinking the ABV.
Yeah.
Just to pack it out, I guess. I don't know.
And by that rationale, you'd be able to make like a triple dry hopped table beer and the same kind of flavour compounds going on in you can't.
No.
You know, there's not enough there for it to attach itself to, or I don't know what that is.
Because sometimes like a session IPA, you can tell they've hopped it to buggery because it just tastes like it's just hop tea, and there's nothing else there. It's just hop astringency and a little bit of citrus. But you want, for me, I want a rounded beer. I want malt character. I want to be able, I want the yeast to do something. Whether if that's esters or making it hazy and all that sort of stuff, it's I want roundedness.
I actually think that's why, because it was going, for me at least, it was going too far for me, the New England style. I think I just got burnt out of it a bit. And they're a bit more, they're very kind of one-dimensional. It's been nice to try some West Coast just to see there's a nice difference there, but obviously modern West Coast aren't what they were 6 years ago, I don't think. But,
no.
Bitterness is far too low now.
I mean, there's some, like Hot Bullet from Sierra Nevada, that I really enjoyed that because that did have quite an assertive bitterness on the back end. And it reminded me of the West Coast of Yield. Really good.
I only had that once and I really enjoyed it. It was on draft when we was in Birmingham a couple of years ago. I was like, wow, I'm going to have some of that. Sierra Nevada on draft. I like their beers. Their torpedo's always good.
Oh yeah,
Classic, isn't it? I remember trying to drink a 4-pack of that once. Like 4 pounds. No, that didn't end well.
I don't know if you're talking about Sierra Nevada torpedo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that Paul from Cloudwater posted on Instagram earlier on. I think the other night he had a lineup of like Sierra Nevada. I think he had Torpedo Pale Ale, Keller Weiss Stout, and maybe something else. And he was saying, in celebration, that was it. And he was saying, I think that the stout and the Keller, specifically Keller Weiss, kind of really stood out. But it's quite good. I mean, it could be taken as being a bit condescending, but it was like if you came into beer with this, it's probably worth your while just kind of like going back and trying this, because it's like he was saying it's like it is perfect, it's faultless. I mean, but if all you never knew was kind of like, I said, I'm just opening another track. It's double IPAs all night. It's IPA night. Says, wake up the neighbours. CY 2020 Strata. I thought, say goodbye to 2020. With Strata, I fucking love Strata. I love track as well. But I just thought it was Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, anyone in it, it's like, how do you take that? But I think it was meant with the best intentions, and he got it from Beer Hop actually as well. So
Yeah, of course, yeah.
who are getting in some
That's the only place you
founders, even
No.
the founders of the Evil Brewery. I will be buying some fucking breakfast stout. So I've
Yeah.
not had breakfast stout for years, and I love breakfast stout.
I've got an old breakfast stout in the cellar. Probably about 8 years old. Mm.
Yeah, would there be much coffee on that?
No.
Probably not.
Turn into something else now.
Yeah, I had a night the other night of just having Belgian style beers. So I had like Still an Act. That's what I finished on.
How was it? I've never had it. I've never had it, and I've got a 2009 bottle.
Right. Oh, right. Well, I think it stands up quite well to aging.
Yeah, it does. That's why I bought it.
What
Actually, I bought it because it was a Family Madness when it was called the bottle, and it was really well priced. I think it was incorrectly priced, and I got really cheap. And then it was like, didn't open it for a couple of years. Then it was like, oh well, just keep leaving it for a while, and more and more and more. And now, yeah, got a 2009. Oh yeah, there's a guy who's I think he's a beer writer. A guy called Jez, and he's a big fan of it, and he's got multiple years of kind of verticals of it. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted. But yeah, so how was it?
It was amazing. It's like a big Belgian pale, isn't it? Like,
Is it kind of hedged towards like barley wine?
Yeah, in terms of body, and like when I got it, it was out of the fridge, and I realised that I needed to leave it. You were just getting a bit more. Sometimes I find some Belgian beers, if they're too cold, they've got like a bit of a metallic edge to them. And then as it warmed up, you got like a lot more of the yeast esters coming through, and like some of the floral notes, and it's just supreme as a beer. But it's really important to have it at like a room temperature kind of drink. Although that said, it is quite nice to experience the change as well, as it warms up and
the change, the menopause of a beer.
Like, it does, doesn't it?
I think my 2009 is very much in the middle of the menopause.
But yeah, I'd had like an Allagash triple, which was really nice and soft, and yeah.
Have you ever? Was it the Carew?
I had that really like a few weeks ago. Yeah, I mean everything that we've had.
How was that? I mean, there's been a bunch of guys who do kind of YouTube stuff. I mean, Chris Stelz, who was like king of beer tube for a bunch of years, Big Geek Nation. He'd always said that was his favourite beer. Matt from Massive Beer Reviews. Matt's always said that's a cracker. I've got a bottle of that in. I'm going to do some research online and figure out how to kind of pronounce it, but I'll probably just end up watching a bunch of American beer reviewers and do the terrible pronunciation that they probably did as well. But yeah, gotta say, find some grounding for your badly adopted pronunciation of a word that you're not sure about.
Well, it's basically
sorry, Google Translate.
Yeah,
isn't it like it's just their barrel aged? It's a barrel aged version of their of the barrel aged.
Yeah, it's 10.5, so I don't know if it's any bigger, but I don't know if they brewed it a bit bigger. And that the triple. How much ABV is the triple?
I don't think the bottle actually says anything about the triple. I think it calls it like a Belgian golden ale or something like that.
I thought it said triple.
It might. I might be wrong, but I remember reading up on it, and it sounded like it was just like a barrel aged version of the triple. But then on the bottle, it says something different. He calls it like a Belgian golden, a barrel aged Belgian golden ale or something.
Well, like Duvel. Duvel.
Yeah. Duvel's good.
Duvel.
Like a bottle of Duvel and get drunk like when we were 17.
How long Duvel? Which I posted my Duvel review on. I think it might be Christmas Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it went up today. Your Duvel review. I watched it today.
It was today. Then it was today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of held off for such a long time because I didn't want to feel like I was trolling anybody. I wasn't. I just drank it and we're a bit like, huh? I've got my fondest, my most recent fond memories of Duvel was there were a bar in York that we'd always end up going to for leaving dues, which was always, as a place has got a big turnover of staff, it was like nearly a monthly fucking occasion, and so it was a little independent bar, but clearly they were one of those things where somebody had paid for the fitting of their bar and all that business. So there were a bunch of fucking iffy masters, like modern stuff, like what do they call it, East Coast IPA and all this kind of like bobbins, all that shit on. So I had a couple of Duvels. I remember that in this specific glass as well. And I remember that's my fond memories of Duvel. But on that night, on that momentous night, I was a bit like, But then again, that might have been down to it being like sat on a supermarket shelf for goodness knows how long. So
yeah. What was it? They did like they do like a single hop every year.
Around. I went to Boots last week.
We did. A few years ago, I thought it was amazing. I mean, most people are kind of embarrassed about their actually salary these days.
They done a cashmere, didn't they? Cashmere version.
Oh, was that the last one they did?
When I saw for this year, it was Citra again.
Oh, was it? It was like a rebrew.
No, I mean, unless it's something, I'm trying to think what it is. Something. I'm pretty sure it's they've done a cashmere one.
Yeah.
Just a single hole.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The Citra is always around, isn't it? It's just.
Oh, is it? Is it just one of those things that they thought we'll just add it into
we'll make it a permanent?
I think so.
Our range.
Yeah.
I know they used to. Maybe it's in the Tesco, isn't it? The Citra. It's just.
That must be it then. Yeah, I said I saw it in Booths, which is the more higher end of.
Yeah, or North. Yeah.
Well, yes, that as well. It's part of it. No. I'm just looking for the Allagash stuff. I don't know if beer merchants have still got any. Maybe it's been cleared out. I mean, I thought the thing was great. I thought the white was great. Just like faultless.
Oh yeah.
Doing our bodyish union for £3.60. First time I ever had that. I got from Beermoth in Manchester. Paid a lot more than that for a bottle of it.
Well,
back in day. Oh yes. Springdale, who was that? I've never had a Springdale brewery. Sorry, I'm just going through an online beer shop trying to find I think it's all gone for all the Allagash.
Way on beer, mate.
Yeah. Can't see any Allagash at all on there. They brought it over, didn't they? Oh, no, it was Cloudwater, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was Cloudwater, yeah.
Excuse me.
I think
we've got the triple, the Kira, and the two spontaneous left, but the white's gone.
Yeah. I was trying to figure. I always wanted to look at it. I mean, I could have just fucking walked in my fridge. I've got the however you pronounce it, Karoo. Where it is? Here we go. I just wanted to what does it say on the label? Yeah, bourbon barrel aged golden ale.
Yeah.
Today's beer, we age our triple in bourbon barrels for approximately 7 weeks. After that time, we blend the barrel-aged beer with a portion of fresh triple to bring out the beer's best notes of passion fruit and honey.
It's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it kind of it makes the bourbon kind of light, almost not like a white wine, but it kind of gives it like an extra freshness and like a bit of vanilla and coconut, and it's just like really bright and kind of singing. It's a lovely beer.
It's kind of one of those styles that I don't go for that often, but when I have it, I really enjoy it.
I think it was the first style that I got into, like Leffe.
Triples.
Well, Leffe was the first beer that I had that I liked.
Belgian blonde ale.
Yeah, Leffe and Hogarden. That's what they were the first beers that I drank.
Yeah. Oh, what's that one with it? Well, what's it like? Kind of like, oh, what's it fucking called? Maybe it's made by Hogarden. Oh,
They do like
it's
the
like
Gardens of Eden.
Gardens of yes, the Gardens of fucking. What is that a strong one?
Yeah.
I remember having that.
Looking that up because that was the thing. I got into Hogarden and then I did an internet search on the internet and I found out there was a place called Biarritz in Headingley, and they were the only place like that Hogarden had listed as
that was the fucking like downfall of my existence. Was that?
Yeah. That was the start.
That's why I'm fucking here.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's why you own a business.
Yeah.
And sadly, they don't. They don't. Well, but man, crazy, isn't it?
I mean, it'd be great if it reopened.
Anyway, so the forbidden. What do you call it? Forbidden fruit, was it?
Forbidden fruit. That's it. Yeah.
So was it a stronger one?
Gardens of Eden, but it's that image, isn't it, of the Gardens of Eden on the front, and there's another one called like Jupiter or something.
Is it a stronger one then?
I think the Gardens of Eden is, or the Forbidden Fruit.
Reason why I remember it is, I remember meeting an old friend from work. She'd left a museum in Bradford and moved to Manchester, got a job there. I went over and met up with her and ended up in, I think it was the Spoons in Manchester. Fuck knows where it was, but I remember it just being like, I remember it being quite bright and lots of mirrors, and be like, oh, what's that? I'll have that. It was kind of like probably quite early on in my enjoyment of beer. So I was like, yeah, Belgian beer, and kind of excited about that. When you go into a pub, which is, I think it was a Spoons, but didn't kind of appear like one, and I remember getting that, and then oddly it was. I think I was over because I went off to see UFC the following day. I was in because they were doing a press conference in Manchester. I went for freebie for that, and ended up meeting up with her. And then like loads of all UFC fucking crew were upstairs in the Spoonies. I think it was the Spoons, or this bar. So I'm drinking this fucking forbidden fruits thing from Hogarden, which I thought, if I look back, I thought was like 8% or something. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
And there's like, Gabriel Gonzaga walking past me, and Dana White upstairs, like fucking the big man, and he pays all the wages. It's fucking Dana White, and like the referee. Like Steve Mazzagatti, the referee. It's like, that's my odd memory. I see. This is it. This is one of those weird things. It's like beer. It's like a fucking map to your life, and it's like all these things. Well, if you love beer and you're into beer, it kind of like you kind of make those connections through that. I mean, I remember that beer because of that memory, and I probably remember that beer because of being in that situation as well. So, but even though it wasn't that at that point, all that interest, all that kind of like important. Hey Matt, how you doing?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Good.
Happy New Year, sir.
We were talking about. Well, you can tell us how to pronounce it. The Allagash Carew.
Yeah. Crew-X or whatever.
That's it.
I'm not. That's not how. I'm not saying that's how it's pronounced. I'm just saying. Yeah.
I was going to watch probably your review and maybe Chris else to try and get a handle on how to pronounce it before I did my video.
No, it has to. It has to be a silent X, I would imagine. Probably Cruo is probably how it's pronounced.
A relative of mine used to say, if you say something with enough conviction, people will believe you.
Always confident, often wrong.
That's beer tube. That's beer tube.
Yeah,
isn't it?
pretty much.
Yeah. This is good. This is shit.
And I love not pronouncing stuff properly. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. It's just like, and it drives a certain sect of beer nerddom so violently angry they get. You know what I mean?
You do revel in that though as well.
Oh my god!
you would do it on purpose though, would you?
I wouldn't do it on purpose. No, it's not so much a purpose thing. It's like okay, like I think a lot of pronunciation is regional, so I don't think I don't think there's a difference between Marzen and Märzen, because I don't say aluminium or binoculars. I would kind of sound like an asshole if I said it that way. So why am I going to pronounce it like, you know what I mean? Dubel. It's a fucking double. It's a Belgian double. It's not a double.
Yeah.
To me, it's not. You know what I mean? I don't live in that area, so phonetically, it's just different. I don't see the big deal about it, but people get really fucking angry, and it's kind of awesome.
Yeah. They call it decent.
Yeah, I'll say double. I'll say triple. But if it's a given name, then it's like people's Pliny, for example.
Oh yeah.
People would say Pliny because I think historically that's correct. But actually, the beer is called Pliny the Elder. The person who made that beer called it Pliny the Elder, so therefore it's Pliny the Elder.
Yeah, I can get that. Like I said, like we call Cantillon. I don't call it Cantaloon. You know what I mean? So there's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Cantillon.
Yeah, Cantillon. Sorry, that's the one. That's what a lot of people in the United States, when they never had it before, and they're getting into beer, they call it Cantillon.
Gers is always a struggle for some people.
Oh, fucking hell! I heard Gers pronounced differently twice at Cantillon. By members of staff. Yeah. This has not helped anything. I still don't fucking know how to pronounce it. I guess because Brussels they're more of a French speaking area. But I mean, so if Thomas was on, as a Dutchman, it'd be more of a, wouldn't it?
And then there's the whole there's that certain, like, it's usually has to do with Austrian and Germany breweries, but I kind of, how no one genuinely knows how to say Worcestershire sauce. They just kind of mumble through it real quick. That's kind of like English schleckler. You're just like English schleckler. You know what I mean? You just kind of throw it out there real fast. Like you kind of know what you're talking about, but you just kind of like, I don't
know. That's what I do with I'm going to say Westy 12. Because my pronunciation of the brewery is just so bad.
Can't even say Aldi. Don't worry about it, mate.
That's my accent. That's not mispronunciation.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, yeah. Anyway, is it West Flatarian? I can't even. I've not even thought about it for such a long time. But I guess I was at the point where I actually had to order it at the Culminator in Antwerp, and thought, do you just point on the thing? He was there. Dirk, his wife is lovely, but the guy who owns the place. If you wanted a Westy 12, he had to go. He went downstairs, and when I was in there, he had like a back brace on, like a sports brace around his midsection. Older guy. His chair in the bar where he resided most of the time, he had the backrest was primarily a car seat. So it's car seat kind of back to his chair, and he's got this back brace on, and he's reading newspapers through a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
And when we went in, with all due respect, Matt, there were a bunch of Americans in there, and they were a bit like, "Hey, we want to look at hey, give us some of that West Flatarian 12," and they were a bit obnoxious, and that's all they were in there for. We ended up being in there for hours, but I knew I went to get one. at bar to ask because he won't get up to ask his wife for one, and she was like, "Are you okay to wait for a bit?" Because it was like he's not he don't want to fucking get up for a while. He just had to deal with these idiots who all just went in there to drink the kind of rare beer.
Yeah, my I got story. I've never been, but my one buddy has gone a couple of times, and he's told me some stories about that place. You know, like stacks and stacks of newspapers and cats and mustiness and all kinds of delicious things. But yeah, he's a very loud American, but he's also he don't fuck. He's like he wouldn't go there with one beer. I think he went there for 2 days and just drank for 9 hours each day. Just like ripping through cellar shit, you know what I mean? Like, I'll drink one of those, drink one of those, drink one. And it's like he told me, you know, the best part about it was you know, any kind of like old school, you know, Belgian vertical you wanted to do, you could probably do, you know, from the Chimay till the Dahl or whatever the fuck you want to do, you could do it.
25-year-old Chimay, yeah, that's the place to go.
Well, he heard whispers if you go there and you drink enough, they'll rip out a Westie red cap, but that didn't happen. So,
yeah. So we've been going through. You see, you did. So Matt, you did beer. You did lists of beer. Your top 20 beers that you reviewed. Indeed, your top. Top shelfies.
Yeah.
You're going through shelfies.
Yeah.
So IPA wise, what's been kind of like notable for you? Because I did my IPA video just before this.
What would be something that kind of turned me on IPA wise in general?
This year, yeah.
Let me go to the list. I don't remember. No, I mean, honestly, like Hop Butcher does a bunch of great IPA stuff. The typical people, Hop Butcher is one of the newer ones, but you know, Trillium and Treehouse obviously are really nice when it comes to IPA stuff. I'm trying to think of anybody specific. So on my shelfie list, I actually had a brewery called Marlowe. They brew out of upstate New York. They were on my shelfie list. They were originally on my best top 20 list, but I had to whittle that down so much that there was just not room. So I pushed them because they were available on a shelf. So I just pushed them to the top of the shelfie list. And they're eager to share, which is like a 5 and change. Just pale ale, hazy pale ale. You know, I know that's not an IPA, but for all intents and purposes, it is to a certain extent. Local guys to me, Kane has been doing really, really well with their IPAs as of late. Like, it's not something that I don't think they did really well with from the get, but it seems like they're growing more and more into that. But my favorite was Hop Butcher as far as my favorite IPA. I'm trying to think if there was what other one specifically that I haven't list because let's see here.
Are they Chicago based? Butcher?
Hop Butcher is Chicago based. They actually don't even have their own brewery. They brew. Right. They don't. I don't want to say contract. They basically have their own fermenters in somebody else's brewery, and they brew on that brewery's equipment and put it in their own equipment. You know what I mean? So that's how they do it. So it's not necessarily like a contract or gypsy thing. It's kind of like they don't own the brewery, but you know, and it's a great partnership because there's
all right.
What did you have on yours? What did you have on yours, Rob? Or
it was all British stuff. So I just did British IPAs. I mean, as far as kind of US stuff, I guess it was like what I could get my hands on. I mean, as it turns out, we imposed the same rule onto ourselves: 1 beer per brewery. Instead of just kind of like, kind of 3 from these guys, 4 from these guys. Yeah. So I did that unwittingly, but I think Jake pointed out that you've done that. Double dry up metal was very good this year. I got that when Cloudwater did the event with Trillium. What else? There's some good stuff from Finback. I quite enjoyed. I think it was like a lemon cake one from Finback. That was good. Yellow Cake, I think it was called.
Yeah, Finback does fun beers. Even when I do an IPA, it tends to be a little zigzaggy, not typical of what most people do with IPA. There's always a little bit of creativity in it, which is nice.
I liked a friend got who does a bit of trading. Got Julius and Green. And they were both really good. Good. And they were about 6 weeks old, so they were still on banging form. So so I guess we get those kind of notable ones through kind of like. I mean, we're quite fortunate. There's been a couple of breweries that, like I said, like Clydewell wrote over some Trillium, brought over some Finback, Triton brought over some green, some like Green Cheek, and then recently we've had some Magnify over as well, and so we've kind of got some kind of decent US stuff.
The ones that I actually had on my list, I'll just rip through a couple real quick. I had a new Alchemist beer on there, Rapture, which I thought was really, really, really good. It was new school, but still that Alchemist kind of weedy danky thing, which is always really fun. I had Hill Farmstead Rawaka single hop IPA. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That was really good. There is, let's see, Treehouse Radiant. That was probably my favorite beer I've had from them in quite some time. It was called Radiant. It was very, very good.
What was that?
There was a Treehouse Radiant.
Yeah, but what was it?
It was just Imperial IPA. They didn't say. They don't say. Well, they said in a can, but I don't write that shit down. The other half, Monkish did a collab called Freaky Friday, which is basically what other half of Monkish did was they brew their other person's beers on their system. So Monkish would send their recipe to other half would send their recipe to Monkish, and then they brew it. So it was other half's version of Freaky Friday from Monkish, but they did their own weird dry hopping on it, which was really fun. Okay. Hop Butcher was on there for a beer called Glyphics. And the one I should have said, which is like the best, was there's a brewery over here called Fox Farm. They had a Imperial IPA called, or just a regular IPA actually called Burrow. And like I did my top 20 list. If I said, okay, just top 20, that's it. Like you could be on there as much as you want. Like 10 of my 20 beers would have been Fox Farm beers.
Oh, right.
Oh, so like that's how good they are. And you can get everything. From them this year, I've had Pale Ale, IPA, double IPA. I've had a Czech Dark Lager, ESB, you know what I mean? All like shilling ale stuff. I've had table beer, saison, like lambic style stuff. I've had barrel aged stout, porters, smoked beer. Like they make everything, and everything is fucking awesome. So they're by far and away the best brewery I've had. Probably not just this past year, but probably a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Wow. Whereabouts are they based?
They are, I believe they're in Rhode Island or New Hampshire. So they're in New England area. Yeah. And oddly enough, they're kind of that brewery. They're the very much the Hill Farmstead a bit south because of what they do. Because they're so varying on what they do, and what they do is so great. But for some reason, even though everybody loves them, they still haven't kind of gotten that kind of you can't get any of their shit kind of thing. Like you could just roll up there and get whatever you want. Well, that's the thing though. Every time I do their beers, people message me going, "Stop fucking talking about it, man. Like seriously, shut the fuck up."
Well, there's one for the list. So yeah, I guess. So is that a place that you're planning on venturing out to?
Oh yeah, I mean it's hard. It's really hard to make that trip up there when you can get such great accessible IPAs like all the Brewdog's catalog. But you know, once everything gets nice enough, and I stop checking in all those Brewdog beers, and I'm definitely going to get up there without a doubt.
The most checked in brewery on Untapped.
Yeah,
Brewdog, and then Treehouse. What does that say?
That's two sides of the same coin.
Some people are just double fisting both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indie Pale in one hand and the latest Treehouse release in the other one. So
I have to say,
I spotted your uber fucking trendy craft beer outerwear.
Oh, yeah.
Polar outerwear. Rivington, no less.
It's exceedingly comfortable.
It does look really
what,
cozy.
what I liked as well, they have the thumb things built in.
I love a thumb hole.
Yeah,
Makes me feel like
I'm sure you do. No, it's comfortable because when I'm putting my waterproofs on, I don't have to mess around with trying to find the sleeve.
Absolutely.
Practical.
Is it a fleece?
It's fleece lined as well.
Oh, well, there you go. Goodness me. You can only buy them if you fucking have you get a train to.
No,
Stockport.
they delivered it.
Oh right, I was gonna say. Only
No, I got
no way of it.
No, I got it off the missus for Christmas.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Sadly,
No,
I think the beer's been a bit average, to be honest.
No,
Nice fleece beer's okay.
Talking about beers of the year, that double IPA was probably the best IPA I had, which was from Rewington and Chain House.
The Living Dead one.
Evil Dead 2, yeah. Not the best beer of the year. That goes from January. That goes from the Track and Wander Beyond collaboration Perseus. That Imperial Blueberry Sour.
Was that Wander Beyond beer?
It was a Track beer with a Wander Beyond collaboration.
Oh right. Yes. I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Yep.
I had that on draft. It was really good in January.
Did you know that then, or is that looking back? Did you have it and be like, it's going to take?
It was a 4.75 as soon as it hit my lips. You just knew.
Adam refuses to give anything a 5.
Apart from what I've just finished, which is Steady Roll Man.
I mean, did you have
beer you can have
you have a Star version?
It's not as good. It's.
Isn't it? I think it's equally as good.
I think it's nice. Don't get me wrong.
I got both in the fridge. I got
Side by
side. I'll watch the shit out of that.
Craig's gonna watch the shit out. Craig's gonna sort this out once and for all.
For me, it's Jaws and Jaws 2.
Fuck off.
Sequel's never as good as the original.
Sometimes it is. Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. Boom.
Empire.
Yeah, Empire. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Jedi.
Jedi's fine. I like Jedi. Jedi's fan service, and I'm okay with some fan service from time to time.
But that's what the whole of the Mandalorian series is. Mandalorian is just fan service, and I love it.
No, it's not though. I disagree with you wholeheartedly because there's obviously some fan service involved. Obviously, like Baby Yoda is that, and when it got towards the end, what deeper it gets, there's a little bit more to it. But there's a lot of like. I don't want to say original stuff because the characters they're bringing are characters that existed in the universe that weren't really used all that much. You know, like I don't want to say anything in case anybody's watching, but there's a lot of originality in there. You know, and they did bring back certain characters and shit like that, obviously. But I think there's enough there, originality-wise, not to be purely fan service. Now, all the new Star Wars movies are basically shot-for-shot remakes of the original 3 movies, just with different characters and different fucking things. You know what I mean? There's literally no difference.
Let's make another Death Star.
It's like instead of making a Death Star, let's make a planet that all the things are surrounded around. Oh wait, that's I don't fucking know. Anyway, but I still like them. I can get down with them. But you're talking to a guy who can find good in the original, the new shit ones, the George Lucas, the
prequels.
Yeah, I can find good stuff to say about those too. So I'm a bit of a Star Wars apologist when it comes to that.
I've gone back and watched them, and I don't mind them. They're a bit long.
That's what I'm saying, and that's kind of where I land. You know what I mean? But
you're talking to someone that saw Phantom Menace in the cinema in Florida before it was released in the UK.
You're talking to somebody that actually saw Return of the Jedi in the theaters when it originally got released.
I'm not that old enough.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I'm not that old, Rob. Sorry.
But I fell asleep.
I know you're 56 years old.
I fell asleep before it came on. But yeah, no, I did see Jedi, and I remember seeing Jedi at cinema. I was little bit too young for Empire. But yeah, because this is when there
You were
used to be
there,
like a
kinda,
little
yeah.
film before it,
Yeah.
before the kind of the main kind of film. And I think I fell asleep before it came on.
And speaking of Rocky, I actually just rewatched the Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4 last weekend.
That's interesting. So, 1, I think, is probably a bit boring.
Oh yeah.
2, a bit better. But
Yeah.
you won the Oscars for the first one.
Yeah.
What's that all about? Well, then 3 is ace. It's got
Yeah,
Hulk
3 is
Hogan in
fan-
it.
3 is probably better than 4, but 4 is just so
Hey,
fucking
woman.
like
I'm gonna get with
Yeah,
a real man. I love it. Love it.
yeah. But 4 is just you don't want to talk about fan service. It's literally United States versus fucking Russia, like cranked to the fucking max. Like he's big.
So 4 at the cinema, and it's one of the most memorable cinematic experiences of my entire life. The auditorium were like, come on.
What is it? The one with Dolph Lundgren in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drago.
Why did I think that was 3?
No, that's Hulk Hogan,
Clubber
brother.
Lang, Mr. T is number 3.
Oh yeah.
But
The ultimate male.
Under lips, yeah.
Yeah. I watched 4 and then immediately watched Creed 2, which I hadn't seen yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Which is Creed's kid versus Drago's kid. And
watch Rambo.
that gets like an 80% favorable rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm not quite sure how that's possible, but yeah, it is what it is. It's kind of like Brewdog getting all number 1 in votes.
Who's watching it?
I have to say that Wee Heavy that I had from them was pretty good.
Well, and honestly, my whole thing about it wasn't me saying their beers are good or their beers are bad. It was just, how is that possible? Like, if you can't, like, I can Treehouse I have a hard time imagining, but the only reason I can see Treehouse actually being second is because anytime anybody ever drinks a Treehouse and has Untapped, they're gonna go out of their way to make sure someone fucking knows that they're drinking fucking Treehouse. Whereas I've literally never seen anybody do that with Brewdog ever. Like, I don't see it, so it doesn't.
How many Brewdog bars there are across the world, and they're all verified, verified.
But then you have Lagunitas, and you have what was the other one on there? Founders. What was the other one? There's
Brewdog,
2 international.
Goose Island bars.
No, Goose Island and Lagunitas are distributed worldwide, globally, and are 2 of the most popular brands. And if you put both of their totals together, they don't equal Brewdogs.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that, but what I'm saying is it's the bars of verified venues. So if you're going into the bar, it's given an unconscious thing that's an untapped venue. And
but
think about how many countries that's in.
But you're saying so when they walk in there, their phone automatically checks them in?
No. But it's
that's what I'm saying.
visible.
So people physically still have to get their phone out and go, "Oh, I'm at a Brewdog thing. Let me check in every single one I'm having," and every single person at every single one of those places has to do that. I just don't see that happen.
The bulk of that, I reckon, comes from like 1 or 2 bits, because they are probably one of the most. Because I think if you're an Untapped user, you've got to be into beer to know that Untapped exists to a certain extent, even if you're now coming into it. And Brewdog are probably one of the biggest gateway beers. I'm talking UK. I can't speak anywhere else really. So there's lots of people just checking in Punk IPA. I reckon. I reckon a bulk of that isn't their special releases and shit. It's a lot of that is probably Punk IPA and all of that random stuff. And it is just it's not necessarily newbies, but it's fan. They have a lot of fans. They've got people willing to put in money for them and all that. That jazz.
They're a weird breed. They really are a fucking weird breed of the Brewdog fans these days.
Brewdog promote Untapped in the venues? Because that's probably a big thing, you know.
Every place does that to a certain extent. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, pretty much if a brewery has a digital tap list, there's usually a Untapped kind of thing scrolling along the bottom.
Yeah.
I think that's less common in the UK though. I think that must be more of an American thing, Matt, because I've been to certain pubs where Untapped is like, what? Or pubs where there's no internet signal.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's probably more of a US thing than rather than was there a global company now, aren't they?
The other thing, which is kind of like funny because that was the whole kind of like I guess argument that from Evil Twin was trying to start Instagram with me was Brewdog probably cares about that. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of breweries in the United States don't care about it. Like genuinely, every brewery is going to care about it to Untapped to a certain extent because it's free marketing or like research and marketing. Like that's like you're not gonna hate it, but some breweries just literally don't give a fuck about it. But I'm pretty sure Brewdog does. Like that's like you will see that marketing of them being number one, like probably in every tap and a lot of stuff.
And also, I think it's because Brewdog are, in the grand scheme of things, relatively small compared to like Lagunitas. And in terms of size of brewery, I know they've got multiple breweries now and all that bollocks. So they do care about that stuff, I think, because they want to use it.
I bet every Brewdog employee is contract bound to check in every Brewdog. Right.
Honestly,
you look at their
you have a sip and you got to check it in.
Collab Fest as well. That's something that uses Untapped as how they judge the winner as well. So they're actively asking people.
That's good.
So you've
actively asking people. Yeah.
I always had a good afternoon or two, kind of like trying through some fucking pretty average beers, to be honest, to try and find like one that was decent. But it was a bit of an occasion, like quite occasional occasion. Bob over to like the two bars in Leeds and work your way through as many as you could be arsed with, and maybe you'll find some more that's decent. No, it's a funny old situation. I'm just looking on their website. I mean, if you want to buy some beer from Brewdog these days, they just want to send you 48 cans of.
Yeah, it's just slab, isn't it?
It's a pain in the ass.
That's where all the check-ins come from. You have to buy 48 beers at a time.
There you go.
Had it again.
Well, that's the thing too. Did they actually tell you if it's unique check-ins or? It can't be unique check-ins.
Yeah, I think so.
It can't be unique check-ins.
I mean, and that's my question. Then how isn't like Miller Lite or fucking Bud not? Because people check that. I see people check that shit in all the time. Like that's it's not unique check-ins.
Yeah.
Not enough people use it on Untapped.
I bet the percentage of like Bud drinkers that check it in is tiny to the percentage of Treehouse drinkers that check it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like the percentage of Treehouse drinkers that check who are active users on Untapped who drink Treehouse check in every fucking Treehouse they do. Well, that would actually be. They would never release that data, but that would be the cool one to see what percentage of what brewery is the highest check-in rate.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I bet that Brewdog is quite high. Quite high, but it's probably like in for just shooting fucking random numbers because why not? It fucking because that's what we're talking about is fucking cherry pick numbers. Is that like it's probably like super high, but it's not like Treehouse is probably like 90%, whereas Brewdog's probably 60%, but everybody else is probably 30%. You know what I mean? That's probably the breakdown and some scaling of that kind of type.
Yeah.
There definitely is a percentage check-in. Definitely, there's people that don't post when they've had every punk IPA, whereas when you have a trillion beer,
I didn't. Someone wrote this on Instagram. Was it Instagram or the Instagram or YouTube page that they ran a promotion in the UK, like a Willy Wonka golden ticket thing?
Yeah.
You could find a golden.
Like that's fucking. Massively illegal in the United States. You can't do that. Like that's like against the fucking law to sell alcohol like that. Like that's super illegal. So I'd imagine that alone people buy a ton of it just for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like if you actually got the can, you got like 15 grand or something like that.
Yeah,
What?
but it wasn't actual money, by the way.
It wasn't.
It was
Loads of punk
15
IPA.
grand. It was 15 grand's worth of credit for punk. For
No
Brewdog.
way! How disappointed! How disappointed is that?
It's
Fucking
like
hell.
leave for like 2 months in their hotel.
I
Yeah.
know. But
That's what I
and
do.
you had to buy Punk IPA from the website, and it had to be a certain. I think it was a 24 pack or a
And you had to
48
check
pack.
it in
It was
48
some.
Yeah.
You had to check in every fucking
Yeah.
can.
If you checked it in enough times, the can just turned gold, and you knew.
Yeah.
Something like Mario kind of like pong pong.
Yeah.
You bump your head on the right block, and it turns your
I just spent it in
kind
the
of punk
bars.
into a gold can.
You'd eat and just clear the guest stuff in the bars, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine? It's like they get like a big old imperial stout or something from some import and pint of that, please.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
pint of that, please? Pint of that.
I'll have 14 tandoori lamb burgers as well.
Go back to your Brewdog hotel room, vom all over it, smash it up. So alright, I've got credit, mate. Got credit, mate. I'm all right.
And you'd probably still have about 14 grand left after that.
Vomiting blood all over you. Yeah, it's just like the most debaucherous kind of like. It probably won't be.
I think after
most
seeing
should
the
be made
hotel-
out of this situation.
The hotel where they have, is it a tap or is it a can that you have in the shower? Does that count as the minibar? I was thinking, are they adding that to your thing?
You got to pay for it at some point, haven't you? So it's a tap in the room and a fridge in the shower, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw Brad
You gotta
doing
pay
it.
for it at some point. In some way, you have to pay for it. Like if it's in the room cost or the.
Do you guys
minibar.
have any of the pay-as-you-go tap rooms in the UK?
Yeah, there's one in
Wow.
Birmingham. There's
Yeah.
one in Birmingham. I think.
When I lived in
place.
France, there was one there. There was where we got a little credit card type thing,
Yeah. And you
sort of-
basically poured and like you pay for like I just want 4 ounces of this, so then they just showed you whatever you poured in your glass. Yeah, we have a couple breweries that adopted it. Like it's been like a business model for tap rooms that aren't breweries. Like bottle shops. But we're starting to see a lot of tap rooms kind of adopt that.
Yeah, a place in Madrid we went was like a petrol station essentially. It was like multiple taps on the table and like help yourself and you pay for what you drunk at the end of the night.
That's dangerous.
I've only ever seen it with
stag-
wine.
It's a stag do. Madrid. We went to the Bernabeu. Held up the European Cup.
Well,
It's down the road now.
What is?
It was down the road. The European Cup, yeah.
It wasn't the real one. No, they just won the league and they just won the European Cup. It was fucking nuts. I mean, and season had just ended. You walked around. We kind of went in the dugouts and stuff, like the bit where they do press conferences. When you walk around the stadium, when you got up high, it was so sheer. Was the drop? The stadium was insane, and then but because they played like the week before, every available kind of like area was just like fucking jammed with rubbish for like cups and all sorts, just fucking rubbish everywhere. It's been pushed into every available spot. There's fucking shit everywhere. Most wealthy club in the world.
I think Lee Renshaw's right in the comments. I think it was the shares rather than credit, but it amounts to the same at the end of the day.
Yeah. My mate owns loads of credits. I said 15 grand's worth of the shares. My mate owns at least five grand, and because he was on the first wave, but he gets the same same privileges of people who's paid like one share.
Yeah, I've got 2
Oh,
shares.
really?
I got them brought as a present. So I get like
Brian Majati owns like $6,000 worth of shares. You get the same.
Yeah, but if it's 15 grand's worth of shares now, you're going to get a lot, aren't you?
Depends if anybody wants to buy it.
Yeah, I suppose. But you
That's
still
like,
get.
it's like Fuller's Vintage Ale. Yeah, but like on their website they can say it's £500 for like a 1987 bottle, but yeah, it is if somebody wants to buy it.
yeah,
Who's the daft bastard who wants to buy a fucking bottle of beer? Hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
some of my damn Pokemon cards. I thought they're going to be my retirement.
Yeah,
Everyone's trying to sell them.
my pogs.
Hugs.
Don't get me into that shit. I want some YouTube channel about this house. It was insane. This house where it's like a toy shop who's bought the contents of this house, and there's like unopened Christmas presents and like fucking like 40 unpunched kind of like original Star Wars figures. It's like they're still in the bags from like the shop where they bought them from and stuff. It's a very odd situation. I've been fascinated for like last 3 days. This weird little fucking hovel of somebody who's like collecting as an impulse, a compulsion to collect. It's like, yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
If you were collecting back in like 30 years ago, now that shit's worth a ton.
Well, because that's also it's true for like stuff like that where it's like hyper rare, but like everyone thinks like Star Wars figures or whatever are going to be worth. It's I've got these Star Wars figures, they're going to be worth loads of money. It's like no, because everybody brought that figure. So yeah, it has to be either has to be mint condition or something wrong with it, like a C3PO with a dick or something like that. To any money.
This one's worth like 300 quid. I bought it.
You're full screen. Who's that? That's Star Wars character, isn't it?
Yeah, he's called Goat Face or Yak Face.
Is he in the cantina scene?
So, yeah, he is. Yeah, he's like just a bit apart. But he was one of the last models to be released, and the warehouse burnt down, so it was never released to the American market. And I bought it as a kid for like £1 in the bargain back when Star Wars wasn't cool anymore. But it's worth it sells on eBay for about 270 quid, like that. So,
but you had it really close to camera, and I thought it was really big initially. I'm like, fucking hell, it's really big. Fucking the big yak face bastard.
So anyway,
yeah, that's amazing. No, I said I found it kind of remarkable that I found it. Hang on, can't remember how to get myself off this. Make you feel insecure slightly longer. There we go. Boom.
I've fallen down the rabbit hole before of the people who get the returns from Amazon. There's a guy on YouTube who has like a big warehouse, and what he does is he just gets what people send back on Amazon, and then resells it.
Cutouts of like celebrities.
You're talking about the guys that buy like a lot. They don't know what it is. It's just a gigantic pallet of shit, and you're just like, yeah.
That's
interesting.
Yeah.
You just get like,
I've watched those a lot.
Most of the time, it's like most of the time it's like proper clickbait, isn't it? It's like they don't get. It's like they're holding like a PS5. It's like you didn't get a fucking PS5.
No. I saw one when he got
like 4 crates of like ladies' hair removal devices.
Close. This guy got two pallets worth of dildos.
I've gone down a similar rabbit hole, Adam, and they always get celebrity cardboard cutouts. They're always like, well, what's this?
Yeah.
They unpack it. It's like Danny DeVito. Like, so who returned it? Who got it? And was like, no, not for me.
Good enough.
We're sending that back.
400.
I'm just going to go and grab another beer. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah.
Shocker.
That's a good
The
beer.
best beers in the country.
I'm on this at the moment. I don't think I said.
Oh, cool.
As we're talking about like Belgian style beers, I thought I'm going to crack that out. I've been drinking a lot of stout and IPA recently, so want something
Does it
different.
taste appearance?
Yeah.
Big raisin.
I'm going to go get an IPA because I'm basic.
It tastes of monks.
Taste of monks.
Yeah, you could taste the monk hands.
Oh.
That have,
Oh, I can taste the celibacy.
yeah. Very unsalty. You can a distinct lack of salt.
Pensive
But no,
aggression.
I actually do really like this beer. I've never reviewed it. I've had it like 4 or 5 times now, and it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
Mm.
It's quite clean. Like,
It is. Yeah, it has got a real sort of a drying quality to it. Oh, there you go. It's very good. I don't know if they're going to release another one. They're just going to brew that solely.
Well, that's how it works, isn't it? Most of the time.
spruce tree.
What's that I've got there?
To magnify it.
Juice, spruce juice. What is it?
It's a
Bruce
Imperial
Tip
IPA. Yeah, spruce tips and honey.
Yeah, I'm like 40, probably 43-minute drive from there.
All right.
Oh wow!
I got this part of the track deal that Peter picked up for me.
Oh yeah, yep, cool. Yeah, I've just had my last can of my track delivery,
Quality.
which it finally fucking got here.
Quality
After
full.
that, some cunt fucking nicked my first box.
Oh,
Dirty fucking decorator downstairs, workman downstairs nicked my box. I know it's him because there were like a bottle of Stella in the window, so I know he drinks beer. The dirty bastard. Nicking my posh gold rim glasses and my Ponzi fucking double IPA. It'd been an education.
Can you
for him.
I was going to say, can you imagine if that
Bottle in the
turns him on? If that turns him on from Stella to craft beer.
And he starts a YouTube channel. He
Called
calls it-
the Beer
calls it a
Stealer.
flop- or Flopsy.
Yeah, the beer thing.
Yorkshire Beer Stealer.
not making it any better. It's not improved my situation in this conversation. On that note, I'm going for a piss. You shit.
Imagine that you try to start a channel based on stolen beer only. You have to steal it and review it.
You have to do the video of you stealing it.
Yeah.
Well, hooligan, that's what he should do.
This goes around house to house.
No, he just goes into craft beer bars and nicks people's beers. Like, right, what's this? And drinks it.
That'd be great.
I'm surprised he hasn't done a segment of Brie.
Yeah,
There you go, Maggie.
Look at this Magnify getting hot play.
Magnify
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, but I mean, really, if you talk about that whole stealing beer thing, if any of us have been sent beer by a viewer or a brewery, aren't we kind of stealing it? You know, if you think about it.
No.
Receiving.
Free.
I'm joking, man. They get the better end of the deal. They get free advertisement, basically. It's like ridiculous, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how rude can you be about it if it's been given to you?
Oh, absolutely rude.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done it, man. Yeah, I burned some bridges. It's pretty awesome. But oddly enough, I've actually gotten beer sent to me because I ripped breweries' beers. Like, I've not ripped them, but genuinely been like, I don't like this and this, and it's kind of poopy. And the brewery's like, yeah, can we send you stuff? Like, someone gave it to me.
Yeah.
They didn't know about me. Then I dumped on their beer, not being a dick, because I never want to be a dick to the brewery or beer for no reason. Just it's like this is kind of not good, and they're like, we liked it. You didn't just say everything's awesome. So can we send you some stuff?
Yeah, most time if you're constructive, you actually it's more respectful than just trashing it. Or because I even feel it's almost sometimes in reverse. If you get sent something, you almost if you get sent something and you do like it, you almost want to downplay it a little bit. So you're not like you're just saying that because you got sent it. It's like no, it's really good. It's like, but I don't want to like jizz myself over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't get sent stuff all that often, so it's not a massive problem for me. Every now and again, stuff will come out.
You got sent all that Aldi IPA from Brewdog.
I did, and then I never did a video about it.
No.
I've got one can left. I've got one. I got 12. I got 12 cans of it.
I couldn't send you anything else other than the one from Aldi.
I couldn't believe it because when it came and it was the pack was so heavy, I thought, oh, they've sent me some other goodies. It's like no, just a slab. Just a slab of the Aldi IPA. I've got one left because I feel like I should do a video at some point, but the zeitgeist.
Wait, did you just say a case of one beer?
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. That's fucking fantastic.
Would you have preferred that or half and half of Punk IPA?
I probably preferred what I got.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't need any more punk in my life. But I have kept the can back because I will do a video on it. It just I just got to think of it. I've got my green screen now, so maybe I can do something. Maybe I can put like an Audi checkout or something.
Oh, you need to find a blue waistcoat and pretend you're working in Aldi. Yeah.
You could have cleaner have like a mop.
Yeah. Just sort of cracking it off the shelf.
Yeah.
Or like I don't know how. I mean, I assume all Aldis are the same, but go to port and you don't have a glass, so just grab a random cardboard box of some product and pour it in there, and then drink it out of the cardboard box.
Or like a flower vase.
Just some random product that you're like, I forgot my glass. Got to do with what I have. What's available?
Here we go. I have a horse's saddle here.
You're mopping up. You empty the mop bucket and fill it in the mop bucket.
Yeah.
I tell you what, crap loads of honey in this, but the spruce tips are not really that prominent.
I rarely get honey from beer. Usually it comes off different for me.
Okay.
Like it comes off like a weird like mouthfeel thing. And then so the same enzyme that's in beer exists in honey. So a lot of times the beers end up being drier. Like they end up being super dried out because they have the same enzyme that they put in a brewed beer. So, but I love honey in beer. I mean, Braggot ales are some of my favorite styles of beer. So I dig honey in there, but I rarely get like, put honey in my mouth, taste it, and then drink a beer with honey. I rarely get the similar experience.
If I say honey in reviews, like when I think about it, it's probably more akin to like mead or something like that. It's not actual, just like you say, like a spoonful of honey.
Yeah.
It's a strange one, I think.
Honey salmon.
Hill Farmstead beer I've had more than any other. I think it's Anna. Is that their honey beer?
Yeah.
fucking
every bottle share, you go, oh, Hill Farmstead. It's a fucking honey.
That's what I think. Like, I could be wrong. Brewers would know better than me, but I think like honey is like super non-fermentable. Like something about it, the sugars in it don't ferment out easy or something like that. So that's why it ends up being like a weird mouthfeel for me. I don't know. Something like that.
No, but
it's a fun ingredient.
I do. I love a braggot. I mean, Siren made a cracker with bee nectar called Uncle Zester. I love that beer. Magic Rock made one with Against the Grain as well, and that was a cracker with heather honey.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't remember what that was called, but my mate was going nuts for that.
yeah,
That was never released. It was just it was just a draft only beer, but yeah, it was all around like a 6-month period. There was the brag. I mean, see, bee nectar. I've had some bee nectar stuff. I'm sure Matt's done. Have you done some?
Yeah,
bee
we
nectar?
get them over here.
Yeah. I think
we
it's good. I've had some bits, I've had some sizes and all that kind of business from those guys. Nice.
Yeah, one of my most romantic memory beers, like an old beer that I had that I still like think about and like, oh, I love that beer so much, was the actual Braggot. We have a brewery over here. I don't know if you guys get them over. I think they go over there. Weyerbacher.
Yeah,
Very
Weyerbacher.
very old brewery over here. And their 16th anniversary. I think they're on 24 now. So you're talking about maybe like eight or so years ago. Their 16th anniversary. Their anniversary beer has one rule. It has to be over like 12%. So they did like a big Braggot ale. And oh man, that beer was so fucking good. Oh my God.
Are they still going? Weyerbacher.
They're still going. Yes. The original owners filed for bankruptcy and they sold to somebody else. The brewery still exists in a same form or fashion. They still have the same beers. They still exist in the same way, but they actually take the new owners overextended themselves as far as expansion. They expanded a lot of their brewing capability, but they decided to keep making like Belgian triples and fucking Braggot ales, which no one fucking buys. So then when they expanded, like beer's getting crazy. And they did that. They kind of overextended themselves. So they kind of got fucked. So they sold. And they basically ramped back production of what they make and then started contracting out some of the facility to other breweries to kind of make up that space. So they're doing well. They're making all the same beers. Their quality is still much the same. They're just under new ownership technically.
Yeah, Double Simcoe was the big one, what I always kind of heard about.
Yeah, Double Simcoe was great.
We had a few others. See, this has been something I actually spoke about the other day. I might be doing a video. I can't remember now, but what I remember of what Simcoe was is sat in a little a bar in London called Cask. Drinking Weyerbacher's Double Simcoe, thinking this is the fucking pinnacle of what Simcoe tastes like.
Fantastic.
But what Simcoe tastes like now is nothing like what Simcoe used to taste like. I think there's probably a lot to do with that. A lot of things that go into kind of like changing that. I mean, hop selection, I think, is a big part of it. I think obviously how they use it as well. But old school, because everybody used to be. First time I met Doug O'Dell, I remember talking to Doug about Simcoe, that old cat piss situation. They were like, I get it. I mean, I used to live in a house where neighbors cats would piss all over the fucking place. You get that ammonia kind of thing, but when I get beers in the last couple of weeks, which have got Simcoe in, and probably showcasing Simcoe in a lot of ways, they don't taste like those beers. Not like Weyerbacher.
Nope.
Those like big, dank, but not cat piss. It's I had a fear during the when Clydewater did the Trillium stuff. One of the beers was all, I can't remember which one it was now, but it was all Simcoe. We're like, you fucking what? That's Simcoe? No, it was completely not what you expected. And I think that is more and more because people are a lot more involved in more involved in hop selection and stuff.
Yeah, I think definitely go for the interest in, that is part of the hop selection. It's more about, get something that's really tasty and interesting rather than it being, the accepted perception of what Simcoe should be.
But exactly, but that was what it was, and that's what you always expected. Like, what these are those specific characteristics of these particular hops. I mean, I guess that was always
it's an organic plant, so it's always going to waver and change over time to a certain extent. But it's also like, when I think when Simcoe was big in beers like that, you're talking about double Simcoe from Weyerbacher. That's 2010. You know what I mean? Like, and there, what they did is just like, kind of, seedless watermelons. You genetically engineer out what you don't want, and you genetically engineer what you want in. It's weed. You know what I mean? You're going to tweak the weed in the way you want the weed to be. Same thing with hops. So they probably over time just been like, okay, we wish Simcoe was more this, less that, and it's probably a combination of the two, is that things change over time, because Citra's changed crazy. It's actually come back a lot to where it has been, but there was like a 2-year period about 3 or 4 years ago where Citra was like, I was like, this doesn't taste like what I'm used to with Citra. So it's all like ebb and flows and shit like that. But yeah, you're talking, I mean, the cat piss, automatically get cat piss from Simcoe is basically what we're talking about. That was like, okay, Simcoe, cat piss. That's not the case anymore. Every now and then you get one to go, oh, wait a minute, I get a little cat pee. That's kind of fun. I remember that being in there all the time. It's like that kind of thing nowadays.
Yes, I mean, interesting conversations me and Gav had of a couple of last couple of weeks. He's talked about kind of trying to like train yourself a little bit, trying to get some kind of understanding of what certain hops are. I mean, I did my video for the Daya Galaxy, Saturating Galaxy the other night, and I hope you find it entertaining. Cause I'm not drunk at all. I've had one beer beforehand, but I was just like meandering really, and I was like, I'm gonna after this video, I'm gonna go online and try to educate myself on what Galaxy tastes like. So once upon a time, I mean, I think for me it was that era when Mikkeller were doing the kind of single hop IPAs. We're going back a while now, and I think I felt like I had a handle on certain things, and I really don't anymore. Really don't.
Yeah, I feel like
as much as I'd like to and like to try and try to expose.
I try and sort of purvey that now in my reviews. Whereas before I'd be like, well, it's said as mosaic, but I'm not necessarily getting mosaic characteristics. Now I'll be like, it'll be some random beer, and I'll be like, I'm fucking getting like blueberry now. Like, where's that? Like, what's that? Like the hop that I learned, like the traditional flavor profiles of, is like, where's the blueberry coming from? What hop is giving me that?
The traditional flavor profile. It's like, what does the hop growers like fact sheet say? I actually wanted to see that. What Galaxy is. So
and then you give the same chef the same ingredients, you're gonna come up with two different fucking meals. You know what I mean? So it's not like
that's what it is, isn't it? It's because it's the yeast, the water, the malt, and the hops all counteracting and mixing and doing crazy stuff with each other, and you get.
Are you finding that with like the Freaky Friday stuff? Like, are they quite different beers when they brew?
Well, the only thing with that is that, like, the Freaky Friday stuff, I tend to only get one end of the spectrum, not the other. Rarely do I have like I get the beer from that West Coast brewery. You know what I mean? I don't trade for beers and stuff like that, so I rarely have the other end of the spectrum kind of beer. So I can't. It'd be fun to do side by sides like that all the time, but I just don't have that kind of thing going on.
Yeah. No, like I said, he's trying to like just put your finger on it, and when you're just doing something really average, which has got those specific hops in it, I kind of want to be able to go, oh yeah, this is what's in. I could not tell you what Citra tastes like. I can tell you what someone once told me that Citra tastes like, and I can tell you about what the beer last night, which I had a load of Citra in, tastes like. But I don't know if I could tell you, like, down the line.
Well, that's the thing, though. I think you're probably selling yourself a little bit short. You 1,000% know what Citra tastes like. You just don't know what part of Citra is the part. It's kind of like a person that knows how to play music as opposed to a person who reads music. You know what I mean? So like you like if you drink a beer with Citra, you could rip out what is Citra in there. You don't read the music, so you can't articulate. You don't. I hope that makes sense in some form or fashion.
No,
So,
yeah,
It's how it's used. It's how it's used. It's when it's put in the boil and.
well, therein lies another fucking like can of worms, isn't it? Yeah, I can say it's
Sorry.
pineapple. That's it. You can say it's pineapple. A lot of people would say kind of pineapple for Simcoe. I mean, so for Citra. But then I personally say it's a lot more kind of lemon sherbet and things like that. So, but it depends how it's used.
but that's the
Depends
thing.
what
There's
malts with it.
the like blanket shit doesn't work because it's like, was it picked? It depends. Like, Citra picked from this place on this day is different from the same place 3 days later, and then Citra picked from another place on the same day as the first one is going to be completely different. So it's like, when it comes to hop selection, it's not the same. And plus how you use it, you could use Citra. You could put Citra in a fucking like ESB if you wanted to, if you wanted to, you could fucking massage Citra in a way that you could make it come off completely different than Citra.
Well,
so it's not like, hey, we put Citra in there and then I get this crazy awesome IPA or Citra forward IPA.
The biggest use of Citra in the UK
and all
is
sorts.
Oakham Citra.
Yeah.
And if you had Oakham Citra, Matt, if you come to London and you drank Oakham Citra at the Southampton Arms, which is a fantastic pub, you go like, that's a lovely pint of beer, but you were like, yeah, that's not Citra. It could be for me. In my mind's eye of that beer, you could put Cascade in that, and you won't make any difference because it's how it's used.
Jaipur's Citra as well, isn't it?
Is it?
Jaipur's a right mix of hops, I think.
I know, but I thought it was primarily Citra.
Simcoe, I think Simcoe, Columbus.
Ghost Ship is Citra. Ghost Ship is primarily Citra.
Maybe it's Ghost Ship. Sorry, maybe it's Ghost Ship. I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Punk had a lot of Nelson in it for a long time. It probably doesn't anymore, but they used to. They swallowed up.
I think it still does. I think it still uses Nelson.
If I remember looking at the brew sheet recently, it's a right mix. Punk IPA. Change that.
But yeah, Nelson's a big part of it.
I love Nelson, but again, that can be changeable beer on beer.
Yeah. Well, when Andy wanted to do Lord Nelson, and he couldn't get any Nelson Sauvin, he got it from Brewdog.
Yeah.
Contacted him and they let him buy some, which was great. But you can't. They're really fucking iffy about that. Hence, going back to what we said at the start with the emergence of the triple IPA.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a load of fucking hops and they're going to use it and they're going to make the most of the money. But once upon a time, you could. Well, I think to a certain degree you can sell it on, but they've said you can't. So use it.
Yeah.
So.
Just and if it goes, I'll just say you've made like an aged hop beer. Made with nice aged hops in a like Little Earth Project do.
No, I'm not. No. Yeah, I don't know. Gav's not aware that. I mean, you're really close to Little Earth, aren't you?
Oh yeah, it's 25-minute drive from my house. Little Earth Project. How close
are you to Bait Mill?
About 15-minute drive, I'd probably say.
15-minute drive.
Yeah. But they have no tap room or anything, so it's redundant, really.
Yeah.
Can you buy beer?
I can't believe they don't have a tap room. The amount of beer that they churn out.
But who's going to go to it?
Is it in the middle of fucking nowhere?
Yeah, who's going to? Yeah, and that is the lot of it. They don't sell much of their beer in Suffolk. Yeah, you'd be able to find their beer easier in Leeds and Manchester than you would in Suffolk.
I can't believe that. I can't believe Ipswich. Ipswich should be a beer town. It makes no sense that it's not.
It is for cask.
Well, Norwich is a bit of a beery location, but once again, it's cask location.
Yeah. Norwich is a really good day out. Cask craft stuff has got a lot better, but it is still predominantly cask. But craft has got a hell of a lot better.
One day soon.
Yeah.
One day soon.
We'll all meet in Norwich for a right old knees up.
Norwich.
I'm going to go. Like, I need to go to bed. So
Cool.
take care, man.
No worries. Yay!
Nice to see you, Gavin.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Happy New Year.
See
Yeah,
ya.
cheers.
There you go. Let's figure that out today.
Yeah, I was like, it's going to go. Just listen on.
Was that your boss, Rob?
That's one of my employers, yeah. Not my main employer.
No,
My casual employer. Yes.
Mr. Triangle.
Yeah, I don't know if Matt realised. So Gav owns the beer shop where I kind of do a bit of work at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like 5 years now. It's great. It's a great place. Fantastic place. It was such last night. I mean, I had quite a nice night last night. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the
can you really remember? That's what I'm saying. You're like, I'm not going to go into detail. Can you genuinely remember?
He can't go into that.
His lawyers have advised.
I've always been really anti New Year's Eve because it's like, everybody wants to go have the best night of their life. And it's usually just fucking bollocks.
It's very rom-com.
Last year, 2019, at Triangle was fantastic. I mean, it's a really kind of community, kind of like focused place. There's a load of regulars and stuff, and everybody knows each other. And it's really kind of like friendly. And so there were lots of like sharing there were a lot of bringing bottles and stuff, and then like getting out fucking big. What's the big? Magnums of Burning Sky. Is it Assemblage?
Yeah.
Big old kind of farmhouse ale, kind of in the like oversized bottles and all that business at like midnight. Fucking bottles of Driefontein and Chianti, and there was like all sorts of. I mean, this was merely me and my like 5 mates. It was a really great, memorable kind of New Year's Eve, and there's not been many of them for a while because it's essentially New Year's Eve is dog shit.
Yeah, I was asleep at 8, 9.
Hey, I think I was still awake.
I woke up at 1:30 and I text my wife, "Happy New Year." Like when she's sleeping next
from the other side of the bed.
When she wakes up, she sees it.
Okay, I'm still waking me up. No, we had a bit of a late one. Ended up watching that the Charlie Brooker thing. Is it like Death to 2020 on Netflix? That was good.
Oh, I didn't rate it. I watched it the other day.
Yes. Why didn't you rate it? A bit too American focused.
Yeah.
Well, it's because their situation is a lot more insane than ours.
Yeah. Ours is just very dire.
It's just fucking dire, bleak, badly run. Donald Trump's he's a media figure, isn't he? It's easy to make TV about that fucking schlub. So it's easy, yeah. They just had a lot more entertaining news year to us. So yeah. But if you've been following it, it's like, even on a casual basis.
I have. Yeah. I just thought it was a bit. It was very fake, and I was just like,
no, I don't know if it's very fake. It just is what it is.
It just felt very fake to me, and I was just like,
Every time I think, if it were Bernie Sanders, where would we be?
Matt, if it was Bernie Sanders, maybe Matt would have like a massive joint in his gob, right?
Yeah.
I love Bernie Sanders, but I mean, out of the sharper, he was the sharper kind of 70-odd-year-old man out of the two.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe it don't wash with enough people. His ethos of being kind to people
it's crazy, isn't it?
It makes me
Weird
laugh. It makes
concept.
Point of
But
that.
but you mean that happened with Jeremy Corbyn as well? I mean, and then they fucking strung him up as best they could. The first option. didn't they, really?
I'm not sure I agree with that, but okay.
Yeah, well, same person, same character has been.
I think Jeremy
Corbyn's
Corbyn's maybe a bit more useless than Bernie Sanders.
It's the British government. They're all going to be useless. It's just what useless you're going to vote for.
Not quite as evil. What are you on there, Matt?
On fire something.
Is that a swing top? I think I had a swing top going on there. Bonfire.
No, regular top.
Right, you're zooming in when you have the control rod to zoom in.
It's a wee heavy Asian brandy barrels.
Sorry, I'm not on the ball. It's my mouse even working. I think my batteries run out of my mouse.
Ooh.
Well, I guess you're staying on till forever.
Can never close it
Oh,
down.
it's the wrong way round now.
There you go, bonfire. Scottish wee heavy.
It's late for a wee heavy, huh?
You haven't got James here in his endless amounts of purple. He didn't read out my comment the other night about is he part of the Heaven's Gate suicide cult? He's got James Rampant Lion. He's got
imagine so.
He's got purple curtains. He's got purple cover for his. He's got purple top. He's got a purple.
Well, that's his.
For his drums.
Well, that's his camera's fucked up.
Yeah, it's red, really. It's got red room. It's like the scene from The Shining, Red Room. You can tell someone's getting still through.
Oh, still you're not. Yeah, there you go, buddy. I'm angry. I haven't drank that.
That's a good beer.
I've never
my
had one
favorite beers
before.
of all time.
Never had one
This is
before.
one of the best beers ever made.
2009. Over there. Boop boop.
You've
Not
never had one of those? Or are you just fucking with me?
I've never had it. I've got a 2009.
I've never had it either.
What?
Look at that quality pour.
I feel like you're fucking with me.
But I have been to a shop in Belgium that is called a Nachtwinkler, which is entertaining, endlessly entertaining. Winkler, Night Winkler.
I've been to many in Belgium. When I was working in Belgium, I went to many Nachtwinklers.
Oh. You can always get a bottle of Orval in a Nachtwinkler.
I got some decent cheese in a Nachtwinkler.
Fucking them right. Belgium, isn't it?
Yeah. It was nice.
Yeah.
I bought all the. Seeing as we were going through Brexit, I bought all the continental cheese at Aldi.
I didn't even realise it this morning. Sat on pot. I'm like, fucking hell. But what does that involve? Apart from a couple of online beer shops not really figuring out what they need to do.
A lot of online beer shops.
Yeah, it's because they're little small businesses. But you mean the main ones? If you want to get
what?
Cave Direct, I mean, you got those big businesses like Cave Direct and James Clay, who've been bringing Belgian and German beer over to this country for 30 years.
I think they may stumble.
They'll know. No, they know exactly what they're going to do. They've done a few, but I mean, get in contact with them. But I mean, I can guarantee you, these people who've been doing that work for a long time. They know exactly what it's going to be. I mean, they know, like, for example, Clay's big brands will be like Westmalle will be, what's their big lager? Can't remember off the top of my head. But then Cave Directors like Veltins and stuff like that. They'll figure it all out.
In a work capacity, I was speaking to DHL on the 31st, and they say they were struggling with the paperwork aspect of it. So I think those companies may be struggling as well. It's not a case of doing it; it's the paperwork is not clear.
Oh no, it'll be a complete shit show. But
Yes,
I'm not sure if
I'm
any haulage companies are fucking any good at any point. Most of the time, I mean, from my just deliver me a box of fucking beer seems like a bit of a fucking a bit of a chore for a lot of them.
for a
But
12 for a 12%. That's smooth as.
I'm sure it is. I said I've only ever
Danger.
bought one.
Is it 12%? I never remember it being
Yeah.
12%.
The barley wine.
But it says
That's a damn drinkable 12%.
Yeah.
it's
Ten
as
bottles.
smooth as a
Adam,
it's smooth
10
as a plug
bottles
on a.
sold that.
I know.
You
Let's do it.
versus Mark, be hooligan, and you, nose to nose,
Alright.
face to face.
I'm gonna say something now that I've not told anyone. I've not even said it on Messenger or
shit,
anything
what's
like
this?
this. I
Did
keep
you know this is
having.
live?
Yeah, I don't care. I keep having a reoccurring dream
Okay.
that me and Mark are in a charity boxing match. Don't know why.
Who wins? Who wins?
But eventually, do you get like really sweaty and start kissing as well?
No. The end is very similar to the near end of Snatch. If you ever seen that film.
Yeah.
So you blow him in his face with a shotgun, or
Pretty much, yeah. That's how it ends.
Insanely. I don't know if you've seen it, but remember the celebrity boxing going on a bunch of years ago?
Yes.
Bob Mortimer did some. I was listening to his. I've listened to it before, but I was re-listening it last night, and so Bob Mortimer was talking about Ricky Gervais was meant to be fighting this guy, Grant Bouvier, who was
I
like
remember the fight.
somebody. But anyway, it got called off, and Ricky Gervais's like point was like, I'm not training. I'm just gonna go in and fucking punch his fucking head in. That was kick his head in. That was
He did fight someone though. What am I thinking of? He did fight someone.
yeah, previously.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was another one. All right.
But this was it because Bob fought Les Dennis.
Yeah.
And Bob fought
great.
Darren Day, and Darren Day promised he was like a kickboxing champion, and Bob's not a hard man at all. But people are like, yeah, whatever.
He used to be a lawyer, didn't he, Bob Mortimer?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but anyway, sorry. But the point being, they were talking about the Ricky Gervais one when he wasn't gonna train. He said he was going to go in and kick his head in, and then the other guy pulled out, so he got called off. And then Bob said, "Well, I'll fight him because Ricky's not he's not trained at all." And he said, "You see," and he said, "So we had a match in in a gym run by Frank Maloney, who's transitioned into a woman who's like a iconic kind of like 80s 90s boxing promoter, talking about it, that chap. So and he said, yeah, so I said I'll fight Ricky. So they did it behind like closed doors. They filmed it, but Ricky won't let him put it out because he said well, I said I want in good shape, so I wore a t-shirt. But Ricky came in, he wasn't wearing it, but he said, "Fucking hell, he was big." So it's like, he said he beat me. He beat fucking 10 shades of shit into me. Gervais, shirtless, fat, it's like beating them. Wonderful. Steamed into it.
You can say what you want about Johnny Vegas, but you wouldn't want to have a fight with him, would you?
I don't know. I've got previous connection. An old friend from university was a mate of Johnny Vegas's.
Everyone in work used to know his mum before she passed. Because I work in Knowsley, and it's like everyone that works there is mostly from St Helens, so everyone knows his mum, because his mum was like St Helens ambassador. She'd like walk around like opening shops and all sorts.
Oh no, I think he's wonderful. He's got a teapot in the British Museum.
A teapot.
Yeah.
You can make a teapot in 60 seconds. A functional teapot in 60 seconds.
He was going to be a monk, wasn't he? What he originally trained for or something? He was going to go and be a monk or a vicar or something.
He was. Yes.
Yeah.
But isn't he also he's a trained what's the name as well that make barrels? Can't remember the word.
Cooper.
A cooper. Yeah.
It's a dying art.
I know, but he didn't finish his training. He started training as a cooper.
Like Luke Skywalker.
yeah.
He's
the final cooper. The last cooper.
The last cooper.
Why has Matt got a nerd sense thing on his
because we're sharing a StreamYard account, so we could like have the premium StreamYard thing but a bunch of us are splitting it, so that way, like, I can actually go and like change it and do all that kind of stuff. But I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna grab a beer. I'll be back in a minute.
I don't even know what he's on about anyway. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm gonna fuck off in a minute because
cracked open a little Hellers from however you say that, Brulo.
Has anyone had any Villagers brewery? Are they any good?
They're supposed to be. What, from London?
I was looking at Hopley today.
They're supposed to be good, but they sort of serve their local market, and that's sort of it, really.
Yeah. Craft Beer Channel picked them out as like they were one of their top picks about 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think they've just done. I think they're supposed to be decent. I think, but it is sort of like if you live near them, they're decent. I don't know if there's anything to write home about.
Hopley delivered nationally, don't they? They had a 20% off sale, and I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
I'll have a look."
See, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like it depends how you want to drink, I guess. I mean,
how you want to drink through my nose?
No,
Yeah.
Shot it through the eyes.
in a more kind of refined sense.
Waterfall, eyeball full.
But you mean it's like being on James's stream the other night? I mean, James is all about kind of like the 69 corners of the world. I mean, he wants beers from Guatemala and whatever. I mean, I've got no interest in kind of like weird obscurities. I'm more interested in drinking good stuff, not drinking kind of like rare stuff, not necessarily. So I just feel like it depends how you want to kind of like enjoy the things. But then like James isn't like a drinker in that sense, in our kind of traditional sense. He likes to taste beers. He likes to kind of
he said it before. He doesn't drink outside of a review.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's the only time he'll ever have a drink.
So I mean, for me, it doesn't have any appeal because I guess we're and like as I think everybody else on here, you'd be like, well, I'm kind of looking for a good example of whatever is in front of me, and that's the least, and anything beyond on that is the pinnacle of what you're searching for. Is like, I like this. This is the best version of that. So
yeah, I used to try anything and everything all the time, and that's how I started, and that's how I don't know. It's how I learned to appreciate beer. And then now, especially the last year and this year, it's been I buy what I think I'm going to like.
There he is. Fucking hell.
Boom.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. But exactly.
Well, he's no longer isolating.
No, but it's more of a conceptual thing. I think it's just like how you enjoy beer. I think it's like if you're in this like constant kind of road of discovery, or you just like, because I guess that's it. Like with me, like I drink a lot of British beer, a lot of British IPA, and certain adjunct heavy imperial stouts. And you're searching for that kind of like really good one, where there might be a load of fucking mediocre stuff, which is perfectly passable, but it's not going to set your world on fire.
Yeah.
To
You mean
me,
if you drink, if I drank a load of fucking beer from Latvia and Estonia and Botswana,
he's going to say Poland.
I mean,
He's going to say
it's
Poland.
going to be a lot of
He's going to say
fucking.
Poland.
Well, let's get on to that. We can get on to that in a bit. And you'll find it kind of like me. There were lagers. I remember being sat outside of the my former sister-in-law's house in Cambodia, drinking fucking hot ice cold cans of Angkor lager, but it's cold and it's blazingly hot, and that's all that's there, and it's quite enjoyable because it's a remarkable experience that you're going through. So, but I guess when all you're doing is just sitting around your fucking house, you kind of like, where do I find a remarkable experience within my existence? And I enjoy beer, so maybe that's where I find it.
You take a punt.
I try and do two things. I go local brewery, local shop. Anything else that I'm not getting. So that's what I try and do. And so, for example, New Year's Eve, I got a delivery of Black Lodge, which is a fairly local brewery to me. It's within 5.6 miles of my house. And it's a case of I try and do that. There's still an Act was bought from Bottle Shop in Prescott, which is down the road, about a 15-minute drive.
It's a Belgian.
Do you know what year that is? Just out of curiosity. It should have it on the bottle somewhere. It is? Okay.
Fresh.
Give it fresh.
I'm pretty sure it's. I'm 98% sure it's 2020.
I just want to point out, if I can go on.
2020.
If anybody wanted to understand what, actually, I'm going to turn the thing off because Peter. I don't know if Peter's watching, but Salt Beer Factory, one of my local breweries, who are obsessed on the hexagon. That's what your fucking can could look like. Your can could look that fucking cool. I've
would they overdo it with the hexagon?
Yeah, it's the whole can.
Yeah, they just do it badly. They just do it.
The whole can
is little hexagon.
Do it really badly. I mean, I've got a friend who's a really top. I'm a graphic designer, but I'm not as talented as he is. And my mate Lee's really into beer, and he's great with geometric shapes. And I'm like, I talked to him about it, and I said, well, there's this brewery doing this, and I can put you in touch with this guy who's done this work. And if you feel like you're existing within this kind of sphere of existence in the marketplace, and your visual language is a little bit naive in comparison, someone who will take you to another level, and they will be like, no, we quite like what we're doing. I'm like, oh, okay.
How is Matt yawning? And he's the one that's the earliest.
I know.
You've got the earliest time out of the
like just because you're 5 hours, whatever, 6 hours ahead doesn't mean I wake up later than you, man. I live on a fucking farm, dude. Like I get up early, and I'm fat and old and tired, and I so I've been on vacation for about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And it's, I have a baby coming in about a little over 2 months. So my vacation was me thank you.
Good luck.
And my vacation was me doing all of the shit I should have done around this place over the past 3 years and getting it the fuck done. So I didn't take a vacation. I like redid everything from our pantry to our closet to fucking like re-cleaned, redone, fucking stripped, done everything. So I'm fucking exhausted. I got up this morning and like redid our pantry and like, you know, basically rearrange it and put everything in the way it's supposed to be. So that way when the little fucking kiddo comes out, everything's good to go. So, but yeah, I'm also just old and tired. So I'm not going to try to make any excuses.
Old and tired.
Look at this. When you get this level of gray, you know, and this is more gray than fucking Rob, so Rob can't even say that. Yeah, well, you know what? It's on your head. I don't see a beard. I got like it is what it is.
Be very patchy beard.
Yeah. So.
How old are you, Matt? By I don't think I knew. How old are you?
The what?
How old are you?
I will be 45 in 13 days.
Okay.
No, see, that was 4 years younger than the number I had in my head.
Oh,
I'm really?
I'm 43.
Okay.
James,
you thought I was fitty. Thought I was all the parts of fitty. 2 bits.
I thought 41.
Oh, you thought I was younger?
Oh, that's better.
That's just because I'm gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, come on. And no, if I were to dye my beard, if I go like if I do this, I'm like a baby face, fucking gorgeous man. I mean, it is what it is. You know.
I'm not just making you feel good about yourself, but once in a while I'll do a search for something, and your older videos come up. But I'm like, Matt looks younger than he used to do.
Yeah, well.
I think. Sorry, carry on, Adam.
I was going to say, Rob's hair's just changed. That's literally the only difference I can see on his old videos. Just the hair colour.
Well, I don't want to get into it too much, but so you put yourself on YouTube, you scrutinise yourself. Not just Peter Davis.
So it's like basically it's like the president of the United States and BeardTuber is what makes you age the quickest. Because if you look up, I mean, it's probably every leader of any country, but if you look up like a president when they start and the president when they end, they age like 40 years in like 4 years.
When you see that when you see the Obama one, when the first day he's president to the last day he's president, and he is an old man
but he's ripping fucking cigarettes and brewing beer, so you understand why it's happening.
He's living life.
Honey beer at that. Honey beer. When Boris Johnson went, he exchanged him a bottle of Hobgoblin, and Obama gave him the own honey homebrew. I'm like, that's like the crappiest swap in the world. Why would you? It's like Obama gets it and goes, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, but Boris Johnson's like, "This is our best ale that we produce."
It was between that and fucking what is the fucking what's the pudding one? That was between that and that. Who makes it? The Wells and Young banana pudding.
Banana bread.
It was like he was debating which one.
Yeah, that Green King IPA and Hobgoblin. It's like, okay.
I was gonna say, Green King IPA would have been worse. That would have been ever so slightly worse.
Or Punk IPA.
Yeah.
Just a couple of comments.
Oh, the macchiato.
The very drunken Rory Lee has probably woken up. Hi chaps, just bought a load of Wylam Buffalo Trace barrel aged macchiato. Got a can in the fridge at some point to be considered. Maybe of the year already. No.
To be fair, that's what happened to me. My beer of the year was like the 14th of January last year.
Yeah, but
fucking no, go back. Yeah, I'd bum that. Like I'd let you. Maybe I'd let you get me drunk enough. Yeah, I'd let you bum me.
As long as you're not too purple.
No.
Suicide cultist. Thank you very much, Lee. Lee tuned in from the start. Thanks for sticking with us for this absolute shit show. But yeah, thank you very much. And then, but only if you learn south.
Booey.
Bowie. You got to fill your
Bowie?
cheeks.
There wasn't.
Yeah,
There wasn't one R. in
Booey.
that
You
word.
gotta relax the cheeks. And I'm not talking about pronouncing brewery.
There you go. That's quite of the night.
You've got to relax the cheeks.
That's the one.
You've got
He's
to.
done it. He's done it there. Just having a little cheeky NSP. Nelson's Super Pale. 4.7.
NSP. That's the next abbreviation.
NSP.
That is the smoothest 12% ever.
It's creepy. Like when people talk about like
I'll save my 2009.
When people actually do the whole like pose the whole desert island question to me, like what one beer could you bring on a desert island? I almost always exclusively say Stilly Nacht because it's like because I want to cheat, and by that I mean can I bring like how does it come?
Multiple
do I get just all
vintages.
of it at once, or do I get an airdrop of it like periodically over time? Because if that's the case, if you take a Stilly Nacht and then you kind of dilute it down a little bit with like water or something like that, it's like you'll be drinking like a pale ale, and then you drink it straight up, it's like drinking a triple. But if you age it, it'll be like an age triple. And then if you let a Stilly Nacht sit for like fucking 10 years, you get a barley wine. So you cheat. You game the system because you get a pale ale, you get an IPA, you get like fucking all these crazy great beers out of one beer. So it's like
it's definitely not a pale ale. You get the warmth at the end.
But if you water it down with some of the spring fancy. You're in a desert island. You got this gorgeous like waterfall of spring water. Water it down. You're like, oh, I can trick myself. Listen, you're on a desert island. You have a lifetime supply. Shit ain't bad. But yeah.
Chuck some mud in it, stout.
Goes,
there you go.
It, man? Coconut and mango goes.
Yeah.
Coconut water. And it goes.
I'm trying to work out what to put in Matt's box because that's the next one after the one I'm nearly finished Paul's. I've got like 2 spots left to finish on Paul's, and then it's Matt's. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking.
If they're not thick imperial stouts, it's a waste of time.
That's what he's got. It's imperial stouts and Scotch ales. That's all he's got.
They're all going to be too thick. Don't send it, Adam. Don't send it.
And he's warming his IPA up near the big heaters, and they're like rocket fucking engines, like jet engines. Paul's like warming his IPA. It's too warm. Fucking IPA is too warm.
So I was thinking I was going to do tippers for Matt, just all triple IPAs.
There you go.
Just the good shit. It's just the best.
Now I'm thinking Simcoe. Now I'm thinking if Dare do saturated in Simcoe again, I'll.
Oh yeah.
What about just Brewdog so Matt can check them all in?
Dude, if you sent me a box of just Brewdog, I would be over the fucking moon. I would be over the moon with it. I'd go find all the Brewdog we have over here and pair it up because ours would be like 9 years old and yours would be like a year old. And it'd be fucking awesome.
You're gonna pass on the bottle of this wrapped up.
Is that a HopZine beer? I think.
My Brewdog beer. So that
you have your own Brewdog beer, do you?
See, you say that, but then if I put tactically nuclear penguin in there,
has Verdant put your words on their label yet? Has Verdant done that?
No,
they did that with me though.
I don't think we're we're not. It's like guys from Verdant were like, Adam were like, James is really upset. You don't like us anymore. And I unbuttoned my shirt and I had my Verdant t-shirt on and was like. I'm wearing a t-shirt, and he's like, I'm gonna get a photograph of that.
See, because I did notice that Matt on his Verdant reviews, he didn't have Even Sharks Need Water, which, in my opinion, is one of the top Verdant beers.
See, I find it very fudgy. I see it. No, not one for sharks.
No, he also doesn't have Neil either. Neil gets it done.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
I mean,
Good
talk
beer.
to Gary about that. That's not had nothing to do with me. That's just like
well, there you go. Exactly.
Fox.
Hook him up, Gary Dyke. Stop
Okay.
fucking baking your fancy bread. So,
Making you fancy coffee.
with Harry.
Let me ask you this though,
Where is
and
that?
hopefully Gary watches this at some point. Have you ever had a fancy loaf of bread that was really, really good? Like they
Yes.
usually look good, they don't taste good. They usually hurt your mouth.
They are
Like
they are crunchy. They are mouth rippable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the inside's nice if you can rip it out without having the crust, but from like it kind of hurts me when I eat fancy bread.
Sourdough is one of the
Booths.
biggest fucking fallacies of this whole sort of like. If I'm having a bacon sandwich, I don't want fucking sourdough. I want nice
Booth's
bread.
honey spelt. Booth's honey spelt is amazing.
Is that a crunchy crust?
He created this book as a T-shirt on his website, which says "fuck sourdough."
Yeah, but because you add the crunch within the sandwich, you don't want to. You don't.
Well,
you can
Jake,
toast bread.
one day we'll go to fucking.
We will go.
Sandwiches.
And they have like kernel on tap there.
Oh no!
Yesterday I had Gruyere and gammon toasted sandwich that on sourdough.
Oh,
that was brilliant.
that was like a big chod of it.
It was pre-sliced because I'm not fancy.
You did have Gruyere and gammon as a toaster.
And to be fair, my dad gave me the gammon at Christmas, so it was already he cut it for us at the Christmas gammon, so it was all right.
Gruyere there, next level shit.
Gruyere from Aldi. From Aldi. I'm not.
What Aldi?
You guys have never had a cheese called Cooper cheese. You've never had it. I know you have.
No,
like people in the United States haven't had it. Yeah, well, if you had this, then you'd apologize. Let's put it that way. It's so fucking good.
There is cheese in America these days.
Yeah, it's really, and this is just, oh man, my wiener's getting hard just thinking about it. It's so good.
Amazing
cheese should do that.
Right now.
It should.
You should see my scraggins of cheese right now.
But for all the good cheese, what's the best on a burger?
Cooper.
American cheese.
That's it.
Just American.
Nope. Even you haven't had Cooper cheese because Cooper cheese is a hybrid of a couple different cheeses, and one of the cheeses is American. It's actually like a multi-strain cheese. Like we're talking artisanal, not artisanal, fucking weird, fucked up cheese.
Of the American cheese.
Well, you know what it is? They took the flavor of like a pungent kind of like a French cheese, and then put it in the texture and meltability of an American cheese. Then added like, you know what I mean? They took the best at because it's like, French cheese is the best from an aggressive pungent standpoint, but it melts too easy. You know what I mean? Where American cheese might not have that kind of chutzpah, but it melts and is fucking fantastic. Whereas cheddar cheese has this kind of awesome kind of profile to it but it melts like a bastard and sucks. You don't want to put it on anything.
You're getting wrong cheese. You're getting wrong cheese if you're getting the cheddar cheese that melts like that. Coastal cheddar, where it melts and it's got the salt in it as well. Oh.
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about a cheese that took all the shit aspects of several cheeses and ditched them and took all the positives of a bunch of cheeses. I understand you have your weird coastal artisanal cheddars that melt like a fucking magi in a weird way because that doesn't make sense. I don't know what fucking magis don't melt, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
You've not applied enough heat to a magi.
No, listen. If James wants to bum me, then I definitely applied enough heat to a magi.
One day when Matt makes his pilgrimage over to London, to the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah. To watch my cheesy fucking shit.
I'll take you to Neil's Yard. Neil's Yard in stuff off Berwick Street. What's Market?
To be fair, Southampton Arms is not a million miles away from the Emirates.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No,
you could walk. You could walk that in about
It's
25.
Neil's
It's
not Spitalfields. It's things. Underneath the train tracks. Big one where used to be. If it still is. Berwick. No, it's not Berwick. Bury Market.
Borough Market. Oh, okay.
Bury Market.
That makes sense.
Bury Market. Pint at the Market Porter, which opens at I think 4 in the morning for the market traders.
Yep.
Some decent beer. No, it's not going to blow your socks up, but good pint.
That's where Michela's brew pub opened, wasn't it? Borough Market.
Are you in Bury? I didn't realise.
I thought that was along that whole food stretch.
They don't open at like 4 in the morning though.
No, they won't open it. But maybe 11 if they do a brunch.
Things at Neil's Yard. Get some porter, and there's a place really near the Market Porter who do oysters, oysters and porter before breakfast, and then go to Arsenal, watch the game, kick out there at like about 5:30, and then the world is your oyster.
Puppy.
Not that you. Well,
that little fucker.
He's 3 years old.
That's still all dogs are puppies, man. That little fucker. He's fixated on either food or his bone or some shit. He's like, "Don't fuck with me, Dad. I want to go over to the other place, man."
So don't pick me up. Oh,
there you go.
Over something. But Max's sandwich shop. That is, if we can next year, we must.
Oh, it's got to be done.
Because they have a permanent kernel line on.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's late night sandwiches and booze. That was always the thing outside the place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, is a genius. I think I've made like 3 of the sandwiches, if that.
I don't think I've tried to replicate any. I need to give it a go.
Best.
Whenever I make a sandwich, I always think of his whole philosophy
concept
when I make a sandwich, but I've never replicated any of his exact recipes.
It's all bits, isn't it?
Well, I do that with any meal though. It's like if I make like a curry or something like that, I'm like, but we need some sort of crunchy aspect to this. And my wife's like, just serve it. Like we'll just eat it. That's like some sort of crunch.
Yeah, don't
There's no crunch in a curry.
Rude. You send yourself down.
Yeah.
Unsuitable paths, I guess.
Yeah, well, because it's only me who cares. It's only, like my wife doesn't care, the kids don't care. They'll eat it, but I care. I want that crunch.
From experience, I would say just let that go.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah,
I hate that because I just want things to be the best they can be.
Oh yeah. Well,
in every way.
I mean, even if I stick a pizza in the oven, like a frozen pizza, I'll still do a swirl of sriracha all on it. I'll put paprika and I'll still do stuff to it. Well, if I gave the kids plain, it doesn't matter. But it matters to me because I get that delicious.
The thing is, if you drizzle it with a bit of oil, and you've got higher levels of potential high levels of heat, so therefore you might get more blistering from your dough, and there's considerations going into this shit, but people don't take that.
No. Well, because even if I cook a frozen pizza, I do a crack of salt all around the edge of the crust, just a swirl of sriracha, whack it in. There you go. That's a better. If you're gonna eat frozen pizza, do it that.
Sriracha for the kids.
No, for me. The kids will eat whatever.
Yeah, you gotta be careful about you kind of like your madness that you pass on.
Yeah. That was the thing about the thing about Christmas dinner. It was like I was doing we had like treats. I got like chorizos and wrapped them in pancetta and all this sort of stuff. But like ultimately, I should have made it a bit simpler.
Yes, you can make life difficult for yourself. I spent a bit of money, but it's a fantastic butchers in Ilkley, and got pigs in blankets from there because it's like, because who wants to fuck around with that shit? Yeah,
exactly.
So I've still got half a tray.
We had our Christmas Day dinner and we enjoyed it. It was lovely. But then the next day on Boxing Day, I did a gammon. I made a honey maple syrup barbecue sauce based for this bit of gammon, and it was fucking lovely. And we had gammon with some we had some cheese and we had some all bits and pieces, and that was better than Christmas Day. It was better than Christmas Day. I'm not a huge fan of roasts anyway. Like I'll eat a roast and I'll enjoy it, but like that second day when we just had bits and pieces with this fucking gammon, like
my main Christmas meal was Boxing Day. It was epic and huge.
Yeah, in
every sense, it was beautiful. I love a roast.
Boxing Day though is better than Christmas. Is Matt showing off his dog now?
I was going to try. Taco, come here. Come on, buddy.
Mine kicked off because my partner went to the toilet and he was just like, "You move me,"
and destroys everything now.
He's much bigger than my dog.
That looks like a proper dog.
I know, mine is not a proper dog.
He's trying to trick me into giving him food. He's like, he doesn't know mom fed us already, so he'll do it again. That's what he's trying to fucking do right now.
That's what I want to say. Bring your goat in. Being an aggressive goat.
Adam leaves. I'm opening a Tippa or a Quappa, whatever the fuck he calls it, a triple IPA, just for him.
I want the aggressive goat indoors. That's what I want for the entertainment factor.
The what?
What's your goat called?
Like, fucking Jerry. His name isn't Jerry, it's fucking Jerry. Like, it's actually like you have to put fucking.
That's what I want.
Well, when you come over, we're gonna drink with Jerry. We're gonna go out there. He's gonna snort on you. He's gonna piss on you. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
My partner heard dogs and then came in and was like, "Can I see the dog?" And he was like, "He's not on screen."
That's got to be a side series for you, Matt. He's drinking with Jerry.
He's going to drink with his goat.
Drinking with Jerry.
Box with Jerry, and just all I drink is Doppelbox with Jerry.
I could imagine that being a real sort of like ASMR vibe to it.
Dude, he's disgusting, man. He looks like, I don't know if I have a current picture of him.
Yes, it's amazing.
He looks like a devil goat. You know what I mean? Like he just looks like the devil, but he has this big long white beard, down to here, and all of it's yellow because he pisses on his face all the time to try to attract the women. So his beard is this yellow. So it's like, here we go. Imagine this. So that's what his beard looks like.
That's pissing.
Yeah,
he does. He constantly pees in his face, and then he curls his lip up and goes like at you, like he's being sexy and shit. It's very much beer hooligan.
Very aggressive.
Yeah, I tried the same tactic. It really did not work.
Very much beer hooligan. That made me laugh. Sorry, the dog would come in, and I was like, "Ah, yeah, beer hooligan, pissy beers,
pissy beard."
Yeah,
look at my pissy beard. What is that, Adam?
Square?
Yeah, they're bitter. It's all right.
Is that a Christmas hangover beer?
No, I bought a load of track wire for no apparent reason, not for Paul at all, and then I also got some for myself.
I'm going to do a series of beers of clearing out the cupboard after Christmas because I've been brought some stuff, some absolute shocking beer. So I feel they deserve a video.
Do it.
I was just glad you like
selection. Sorry. Old Empire.
Yeah, it's all that stuff.
Nice.
I was just glad you liked the fruit beer from Conch.
It was weird.
Conch.
It was conch or conch, however you say it. But it was weird, and I loved it. It was just I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't expect what I drank. So it was a whole lot of stuff went into it.
I described it as a fruit beer on acid.
There he is.
Oh, there's old piss beard himself.
Hang on. There's a piss beard.
With his tongue out, like he just constantly goes like yeah. So that's like he's only got one horn.
That's like a new metal cover.
Yeah,
He's got like one horn. He's a one-horned asshole goat. Is basically what Jerry is.
He looks angry. He looks so angry.
Yeah, no, he's a horn dog piece of shit, is what he is. So yeah,
I love goats though. I have an affinity with the goat.
I hate goats. They're cunts.
I was
Noisy, smelly.
I can't remember. I was in Dorset or somewhere, and we were on this farm, and I was stroking this goat, and it was all lovely. It was sort of like it really wanted attention. And then I walked further down the fence where he was, and there was a sign. It was a sign that said, "Please do not stroke the goats. They carry many diseases." I was like, I've just fucking been stroking that goat for about half an hour. Where did you put the sign at the start of the
I don't know if maybe I mentioned it before we've been on these chats, but I bumped into Sol Campbell.
Really?
Goats in a
we did speak about this the other day. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but that one
Because that's where my Katie Tunstall
era. Yeah. Sol Campbell being former Tottenham captain. Yeah, they were like, "Look at hell, is that Sol Campbell?"
He played for Arsenal. He played for Arsenal as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Did he?
It's a little bit.
Sol Campbell played for Arsenal. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like without a doubt. Yeah.
And England.
He was, and I like. He was at Tatton Park, which is outskirts of Manchester. I think he was at the time manager of Macclesfield Town. I'm like,
was he manager? Was he like assistant or coach? Was he actually manager?
Yeah. And then I was thinking, well, he's a big lad. He's a striking lad.
Oh yeah, is he like 6'4"?
No,
6'4",
like 6'2", maybe like 6'2". He's quite slim, I guess. He's a footballer. It's not like a world.
I'm not. Yeah, he's not a fat bastard. What I'm saying is he's tall. Tall and broad.
I will always associate the smell of goat, because goat's cheese and goats smell so specifically like that. And I will always tie that into Sol Campbell.
Whenever you eat goat's cheese.
But the worst thing was I walked out of the area where the goats were and Sol Campbell was, and my ex brother-in-law, before we kind of like make conversation, we're like, is it? Yeah.
What's that?
What's that? Yeah. Yes. Why? It's like.
I'll be 2 seconds.
Oh, come on. It's very odd. Because then we got on a little train, like a little road train, because we were kids, back up to the thing, and his partner, kids, got on the train, but he didn't. And there were lots of like, lots of point. Lots of point. It's like, fucking look, Sol Campbell. Hang on. He's really recognisable in this really white kind of like tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Very handsome black man in this kind of near the goats and the chickens. Hang on. Who's that? Not that he stood out enough, but he just happened to be a famous person as well. But my point being, goats.
Mm.
You know that goat smell. You know it. That goaty.
Like goats are goats. I'm used to them now. You know what I mean? They're kind of like part and parcel with my this one. So they suck and they stink. And here's the thing, though. I actually don't smell them a ton. My wife is way more sensitive to them, and she's the one who actually takes care of them. So it sucks way more for her. But yeah, he stinks like a hot piece of garbage. But
talking about like smelling, tasting though.
Yeah,
like Simcoe.
Again, that's the whole thing. Always confident off the wrong. I just make shit up all the time. That's how it works. Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting this. Oh, you're not getting it. You're an asshole. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Welcome to
that's Beer Tube in a nutshell.
It's a load of old bullshit. We just make it up as we go along. But thank you for sticking with us for over 3 hours.
The best is mystery beers. It's like, you do a mystery beer and like you just basically explain every single flavor that's existed in mankind. You'd be like, yeah, I think I nailed that. I got that. I mentioned that in a mystery beer and be like, yeah, and you mentioned like 5 billion other things.
Yeah. This has got a really
wasn't there.
Chocolate, coffee, grapefruit.
Yeah, really the citrusy, fucking smoky kind of barnyard characteristic where the hops come off citrusy, but at the same time, I think it's a lager. Oh wait, it's a fucking. It's a Pilsner. See, I talked about this lager kind of characteristic, and nailed it, 100%.
You're pretty fucking good at mystery beers, buddy.
I've got one.
That's because I cheat. I unwrap them all and look at them first.
I've got one for Matt that he will never get. As you've seen, I torture Peter with his mystery beers. Matt will not get mine.
Now, what do you mean by get, though? Define get.
You won't get the style.
I won't. How much are we betting here? Because you still owe me. You know that, right?
That's going in the box. The amount that I owe.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not.
What do you want to bet on this one? What do you want to bet on this one?
Just pride.
Just pride.
Okay.
Just pride.
It's gonna stump you.
On the line, brother.
All the pride. You get to come down to this. I mean, we're SummerSlam 95. Get the pride of the beer down. Yeah.
And see, now, Rob would get it straight away, and probably Jake would get it straight away. But I'm betting you'll lose it because you're American. No offense.
Oh, that's exactly what I heard. It'd be like, so my English brethren are smarter than you, so you dumb American palate won't detect it. That's basically what I heard.
That's not strictly true. what I'm saying is, it's a specific style, but a variant on the specific style that you don't get in the US.
So you're giving me way too much info. Now I'm gonna go DEFCON 5 on fucking Rob,
or
fucking,
or is this disinformation?
Or you're just fucking with me. That's what I'm. That's what I'm saying. That's the best part about mystery beers. And I'll put it this way: I will open it, forget who gave it to me, drink it, and then mispronounce your name 9 times, and then post it. That's what I guarantee for you. I'll be like, wait, didn't some guy from Arizona give this to me? I don't fucking know. It's a fucking. It's a peach cobbler lager.
You won't see it. You'll know because I'll write on the side.
Oh, okay.
It's me.
I'll still fuck it up and be like, this is a fucking Scarlet Letter beer. I don't know who sent this to me. Some girl in purgatory somewhere who's fucked some husband. I don't know.
Wax sealed, you'll know.
Oh, wax sealed. Okay. Wax sealed can. Wax sealed gross top bottle. There you go.
He'd be like training himself. Training for that moment. A fucking mediocre beer from
mediocre beer. How dare you?
What's it gonna be? It's like over fermented quads, or like a coffee.
So I'm doing a mystery beer today from Adam from Maracy Beers.
Adam.
Hopefully you guys enjoy this.
Get my name wrong, you'll still get the guess wrong.
Oh, I'm so excited now. I'm pumped. I'm so excited for when I get it. close to right, and then you have to eat crow. It's gonna be fantastic.
It'll be great if you do like a Rocky IV montage, but before it, like you're training before it.
Adrian, I did it! Like wrapped in a fucking Union Jack, like.
You're pulling the beer up behind you, up a
Matt's got the thing. Matt's got the.
You're already
in the bar.
You're already assuming it's going to be
the aggressive goat on his shoulders. Like
just because it's an English style, you're already assuming it's going to be a British brewery.
No, the English Jack was just to fuck with you. It has nothing to do with the beer.
It's gonna be beautiful.
He's gonna send me a magnified beer. That's the best part. He's like, I'm gonna take this Jersey beer and put it in the box, and then he's not gonna know what it is. And that's what he's actually fucking doing. And now he's kind of like trying to save face on it, being like, oh fuck, he figured out my plan.
Do you?
Yeah. He's like, oh no, my mouth is full. I'm chilling right now. I can't talk about that. It's exactly what he's doing.
Wow.
There's no way that bite took that long to chew. That's all I know.
The gauntlet has been laid down.
Brie takes ages.
I'm
gonna say on that bombshell. I'm gonna turn this shit off because I don't think we're gonna get it better than that.
There you go.
The transatlantic competition of beers
has been laid down.
It's been laid down. It's laid it down, Daddy. It's a Friday night. Friday night, the Omni, Daddy. Mersey beers versus massive beer reviews, if you will. The Bunkhouse Stampede. We're gonna see.
The Thriller and
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's been fun.
It has.
Until next time. Cheerio.